is going to be a permanent office. So it's not an ad hoc office, it's a permanent office. In terms of the law, the judge is appointed for a non-renewable term of 7 years. And then after that, there is 5 years.
At the same time, the Madlanga Commission has heard a recording of an altercation between Senior Intelligence Officer Feroz Khan and a brigadier in the same unit, Leonora Petle. The Commission has been dealing with evidence related to the investigating directorate as well as its head, Andrea Johnson, today. This morning, the Commission heard evidence that Johnson interfered in a criminal complaint laid by Petle against Khan. The Commission has heard a recording of a 2018 incident where Khan can be heard shouting at Petle.
Khan, if you're coming here to
not
shout
Khan,
at
I'm
me,
a general. Don't address me as Khan. That's the last time you call me Khan.
You see now?
You call me general.
No, don't shout at me.
You call me general. You don't call me Khan. I'm not your friend. I'm your commander. Do not address me as Khan. Am I clear to you? Am I clear to you? Do not address me as Khan. You have discipline. Do you know standing orders of the police?
Petle laid a complaint of assault and intimidation against Khan, but the case was closed, allegedly after Johnson's interference. Strict bail conditions have been imposed on former Ekurhuleni City Manager Imogen Mashazi and suspended Human Resources Head Linda Xashega after their release in the Germiston Magistrates Court today. The pair was granted bail of 50,000 rand each, matching the bail granted yesterday to their co-accused, suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkwanazi and suspended Head of Legal Kemi Bihari. All four face corruption charges arising from the so-called Blue Light saga involving vehicles linked to alleged crime boss Vusimuzikat Matlala. Koskona Malingamnisi reports.
The state did not oppose Mashazi and Xashega's release, saying it no longer considers them a flight risk after verifying their residential addresses. As part of their bail conditions, they must surrender all travel documents, may not leave South Africa without the investigating officer's permission, and are prohibited from contacting state witnesses who are said to be employees of the Ekurhuleni municipality. The accused have also been ordered to report to their nearest police station once a week. Magistrate Trevor Claassen warned that any breach of these conditions will result in serious consequences.
I also need to explain to you, if you fail to appear in court or you breach any of these conditions, the state can bring an application that your bail be forfeited and it will be remanded in custody until this matter is finalized.
The case has been postponed to the 28th of August as investigations continue. Kosikona Malingamnisi, Eyewitness News in Germiston.
The South African Reserve Bank is exploring a formal digital identity system that could make it easier and safer for people to access financial services. The central bank says digital identity forms part of its broader strategy to modernize South Africa's financial system and support the growth of digital payments. The views were shared during a briefing by the Prudential Authority in Waterfall today. Prudential Authority CEO Fundi Chabazibana says a trusted digital ID could strengthen security across the financial sector.
Part of work that the SARB is doing on payments modernization is to look at how one could have a form of digital identity and how that can be verified and utilized for different things. And I think there is usefulness in that.
While the framework is innovative, Shazibana cautions that compliance remains a risk.
There is what we can do to help those who want to formalize, and there is then the illicit side of things where people will opt out on purpose.
And the European Union has warned Meta to change what it calls Facebook and Instagram's addictive design or face a heavy fine. Brussels has accused the US tech giant of failing to limit the risks of platforms that are posed to users, especially children and vulnerable adults, because of features designed to keep them on the apps. The EU has in recent months stepped up its efforts to forge the big techs to better protect users online, especially children. Meta said it disagreed with the findings but would continue to engage constructively with the EU. While gold is trading at $4,103.11 an ounce. The rand is at 16.32 to the dollar, 21.90 to the pound, 18.65 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $76.17 a barrel.
In Tshwane, traffic sluggish leaving the Pretoria CBD. That's in Hermanstad on Eskiam Pahlele between Van der Hof and the R80. Protea Glen, Soweto, slow-moving traffic on the N12 westbound approaching the R558.
In your sport, SAFA deny Hugo Broos's claim that he's no longer Bafana head coach. Kylian Mbappe keeps pace with Lionel Messi as France advances to the World Cup semi-finals. And Linda Noskova looks ahead to an all-Czech Wimbledon final.
It's a fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 20 and 22 degrees. The top story in EWN, Justice Minister Mameloko Kubai has assured South Africans of government's commitment to tackling corruption within the justice system.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
We're calling on Joburg to walk the inner city with us. In 702 Josie My Josie, walk the talk. Babize bonke. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Very good afternoon to all of you. It's 9 minutes past 3 on Friday, the 10th of July. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Welcome to the show. More than 4 years after tragedy at the Enyobeni Tavern in East London claimed the lives of 21 young people, an inquest court has reached a finding on who is responsible.
Well, the ruling to this, it really makes us as parents quite fail. It's been a long, painful years, but now when the ruling was made by the chairperson of the inquest, it really made that we, the parents, we are happy about the ruling, and this has been what we've been saying all along. And at the same time, we would also, we have our legal team that has been representing us. They did a very, very good job. We would also like to thank them for that. They've been there with us since the inquest has started. They never got tired trying to cheer us up, because as you would have seen some of the parents on the other days, we will be few in the court, but he made sure he's here to represent us. We say pick up to him, and the parents, now we know that this is not the end of the road, as we have now the NPA to take this baton forward and charge those who were held responsible for that criminally for that.
So some vindication for family members, but made clear at the end, closure, it would seem, is still some way off. At 10 to 4, we'll talk to Ntombi Zonke Mgangala, who lost her niece Sinotando in that tragedy. The Comrades Marathon this year was special, not least because of the extraordinary times set by the winning runners.
And she's going to absolutely smash the course record as well. That 5:49.46 definitely has gone out the way. This woman of a different caliber, a different nature. There's no one quite like the superhuman that is Gerda Steyn. And this is the favorite part of the race, because here she can put the foot off the gas, because she is a history maker again. Gerda Steyn, ladies and gentlemen, winner of the 5th Comrades Marathon. She's the second ever woman to do it, and the course record has gone tumbling as well, a record which she'd set herself back in 2024.
Well, next year should be even more memorable because the race is marking its centenary, but there is a dispute around the 100th running of the Comrades Marathon that is clouding preparations. It could end up in the courts. We'll find out more after 4 o'clock. The Kruger National Park has a large and wonderful elephant population. Yeah, a sound that never fails to thrill, especially if you're close up. But there is new data out about the number of elephants which have died or been killed in the KNP, and it's raising some questions which are not entirely clear. The answers to those, at least in the way the stats are presented. Journalist John Perlman is the person who's been digging into this. He joins us at 5:20 with his take on this issue. This being Friday, we'll spend some time talking music, books and food with someone you know something about, but you never know quite enough. Tsepo Mohlala, creator of the well-known brand Tsepo Jeans, joins us at 5:20 for a song, a book and a dish. And in our other Friday regular, Randall Abrams will reflect on the music and career of this singer. Bonnie Tyler passing away this week at the age of 75. Randall's one song is at 5:10. His inimitable take on a very important figure in popular music. On the markets, it's been another day in the black for the JSE today, with the all-share index up by around 500 points. Kumba having a particularly good day, up by 6%. We Buy Cars also doing well, has gained 4.3%. South 32 is up by 4%. On the downside, Karoo has lost 1.6%. Sasol is off by 1.5%. The rand is trading at 16 rand 33 against the dollar, 4 cents stronger than it was this time yesterday. A euro will cost you 18 rand 66, 6 cents better than it was 24 hours ago. 21 rand 91 will get you a pound. Not much change over the past 24 hours. Brent crude is up by not by much, around 60 cents, I think, a barrel. Currently trading at $76.55 for that barrel of Brent crude. Ray White joining us with all the market news at 4:25. We'll have sport with Tolakele Mganga. Karabo Chali will update you on the traffic. Always particularly, well, it's important every day, but on Friday, I suspect we'll get into some of the difficult stuff earlier than we normally do. Mbali Dlamini joining us at 3:30 with the latest news headlines. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live, and if it's happening in 702 land, you'll hear it here first. But if there's something that you know about that we don't know about, please let us know. Contact us on 072 702 1702 or 011 883 0702. And it doesn't just have to be breaking news. It may be that you think there's an angle on a story we might have missed, or a take on important things that we might have just got plain and simply wrong. You can give us a call on that. 072 702 1702. It's 3:15.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
So I came across a really interesting story in my daily read of the online publication The Guardian, one of the most prominent newspapers in the UK. And this is what really caught my eye. It's 25 years since the movie Legally Blonde came out. Now, Reese Witherspoon plays a lawyer called Elle Woods, yeah. And what they did was they interviewed a whole lot of young lawyers who spoke about how they were inspired not only to become lawyers by that movie, but even if they'd already decided they actually wanted to be lawyers, that movie gave them huge inspiration as to how they wanted to go about it. And one of the people quoted is a young woman called Jacqueline Lebain, taking the bar exam this year in the community of Orange in California. And she says, I remember being inspired by Elle because she was so fearless. So she makes a number of points about that. And then she says this: I watched Legally Blonde every night before every exam I took, every night before midterms, before finals. I'm going to watch it the night before I take the bar. And she said, everyone called me Elle Woods, my law school, because I wear pink all the time. People who know the movies will know that that was the iconic style of the character Reese Witherspoon played. And she said, I've had professors tell me it's unprofessional. And I had the choice to continue trying to be myself or go with the status quo and wear the boring black and blue. Like Elle, I'm not going to let someone tell me what I can and can't wear. if you're going to judge me on my appearance, I might as well look cute. So it's a very interesting story, and I really urge you to go and have a read of it, because the different layers of inspiration these young women going into law took from this movie, which obviously I have to say I just watched it with a completely different lens, which is absolutely unsurprising. But it made a very interesting point for me and raised this question. Has watching a movie, even if it's in a small way, or even in a way that you never particularly acted on, made you think, oh, I want to do that, or I'm going to change this thing about myself or my environment? Has a movie ever prompted you to do something, and whether you went on to do it in this quite fundamental way that these women are describing, or perhaps in some way that, was less consequential? I'm just fascinated if movies made you want to do something. So give me a call on that, please, on 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. Yeah, Rifue. Litsua has a little smile on her face. Movies and life choices, whether you ended up acting on them or not. Over to you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John, and to the rest of the 702 family. So just a disclaimer before I tell my story, I did not act on this. I'll say it again. I did not act on this.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
With that being said, I was inspired by The Italian Job. I think it came out in 2003, where there was some shooting and a heist, I believe, with Charlize Theron. And I just thought to myself, I could be a mastermind. And then I remember back in school, and a paid assassin. I mean, no one would know, John, come on. I wouldn't walk around saying, hey, I organize heists and kill people.
Your cover would be pretty good.
Yeah, it would be
Producing 702
and
Drive,
then in the
I have
meantime,
to say. Yes.
And then
Side hustle.
I remember then in early high school when we had to do orals. And I remember I went to a Catholic school. So I remember being asked, it's your turn to tell us what you want to do when you grow up. And I said, sir, I want to be part of The Italian Job. I want to kill people, a paid assassin. And I was serious. I said it was like I was convicted. I'm like, I want to drive a black Mini Cooper and wear black and gold, because I think those colors go well together. It did not end well because my mother was called in. Because I was asked after the oral, listen, I did well with the oral. I think I got 8 out of 10, John.
Yes.
But then later on, Mr. Sibanda, I hope you're listening, sir, called my mother to say, I am concerned about Refue's mental health. She wants to be a criminal.
Rob Banks.
Rob Banks.
Yes.
Look, I'm here now. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
But the parents, my mom's like, Refue, you need to stop this.
Yes.
I was like, oh, Mom, what's wrong with being a criminal?
So did your mom say you must stop with this aspiration, or you must stop embarrassing me in front of your teacher?
Both.
Like, if you've got these aspirations, keep them to yourself.
John, it was both.
Okay.
Because she said to me, I didn't raise you to aspire to be a criminal. And I said, it's
a
not
fair
crime
point. It's a fair point.
per se.
Yeah.
It's like a treasure hunt.
Okay. You
treasure hunt.
Imagine you've revised, those views have become a bit more nuanced.
Yes, definitely. That's
since
definitely
The
a crime.
Italian Job.
Yes.
Okay, so that's one way movies. Movie? Karabo Charlie, have you watched something and said, hey, I'm going to do this?
So
I could?
I've always wanted to be in radio. I remember in primary school, me and my friend, after school, we'll have our little radio show. We'll record on cassettes and stuff.
Oh.
Yes.
And let our family listen to it. And then Good Morning Vietnam happened. And
with Robin Williams.
Yes,
Brilliant.
and how he made it so creative, bells and whistles during his show, making fun, cheering people up in the middle of war. So I thought, this is something I could do. And the other one, also, The Boat That Rocked. I don't know if you've watched it.
Yes, it was about a pirate radio station.
Yes, out in the sea there. Yeah. And just the way they were so relaxed and controversial and so creative in creating the radio shows.
That's beautiful,
I loved it.
So you could, the problem is it's afternoon drive, but you could begin every traffic report if it was the morning by going, in the style of Robin Williams.
Good morning, Vietnam.
No, Gauteng, you see. There we go. There's something there.
He's not too far from
We'd be sorry to lose you, but I think they must give you a run in the mornings. Good morning, Gauteng.
100%.
There we go. Okay.
Beautiful.
I think we've got a way to go on Robin Williams, but yeah. So
what about
serious.
you, John? What about you? Quickly.
No, I'll have to think about this quite carefully. I mean, it's really interesting. Nothing that made me think I'd like that career choice. I really enjoy movies and series about courtroom lawyers, but I mean, having covered the courts as a journalist, I realized that, it's not people leaping to their feet. Objection, Your Honor. I mean, there's a lot of very slow stuff in between. But I must say, quite a few of those made me think, okay, maybe I ought to, think about being a lawyer. Some kind of dress styles, but yeah, I dropped those fairly swiftly because, if you don't look like Marlon Brando on the waterfront, no leather jacket's going to get you through the obvious limitations there. But yeah, do tell us your stories. Movies, have they ever, in fairly serious ways, whether they were consequential in the long term for you or not, made you think, I can do that. I think I'd like to give it a try. Give us a call on that on 072 702 1702. Karabo Charlie, how are we doing on the roads?
Well, I must say, not looking too bad. Still early days. However, traffic is already building up if you're leaving the Pretoria CBD. This is in Hermanstad on Eskiam Pahlele between Van der Hof and the R80 Joburg. Sharon Lee expects some delays on Malibongo Drive between the N1 and Witkoppen, and in Protea Glen, Soweto, there's slow-moving traffic. This is on the N12 westbound approaching the R558. For the latest traffic updates, you can also follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
It appears that law enforcement is starting to put pressure on government to say, hey man, we can't be marching every day. Once the people of any country begin to say, you as our government have been missing in action in a particular job that you should be doing, and we are going to do it ourselves, that for me is a sign that government has lost control of that space. I'm hoping that all of these efforts are going to make sure that government begins to accelerate some of the issues that are being called for.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
When you're walking the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk on Sunday, 26 July, keep your eyes open because Mazda is bringing wonder to the 8-kilometer route. There'll be 5 Mazda one-day experiences, including a piano performance, a world of color, a bubble field, a Japanese garden, and the Mazda Wonder Hub. Visit one of the 5, then grab and then capture and share your wonder moment on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. Tag and follow at Mazda SA using hashtag Mazda SA, and you could win your share of 50,000 Rand. Mazda, where wonder awaits. T's and C's apply.
At the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, snap and share any one of 5 Mazda Wonder experiences using hashtag Mazda SA to stand a chance to win a share of 50,000 Rand.
Peregrine Capital presents Brian Habana's Count to 100.
In my journey to 100, it started with my first cap, then my second, 10th, 50th, 90th, 99th.
Brian Habana, his 100th international test.
You get to 100 one decision at a time. For 28 years, Peregrine Capital has applied that same discipline to turn 1 million Rand into 100 million. Peregrine Capital. Invest in performance. An authorized FSP. Past performance non-indicative of future performance. T's and C's apply.
The 18th of July marks Nelson Mandela Day, a global call to action encouraging us all to spend 67 minutes making a difference. Join the Adopt a School Foundation as we bring companies together to uplift a school in Soweto. Plant a vegetable garden, read to a learner, paint a classroom. Every act of kindness helps create a better learning environment and a brighter future. Honor Madiba's legacy, give your 67 minutes and be part of a lasting change. Visit adoptaschool.org.za for more.
On Sunday, 26 July, the entire city unites for the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk.
Walk the Talk.
And because Joburg is more than just a city, we'll be walking for the people. So join us and help make a difference to homelessness in the city by entering on primemediaplus.com and donating vouchers.
Donate the voucher.
Which is a cashless way to give, helping people experiencing homelessness access a hot shower, a meal, a bed, or more support. Anybody can join and everybody can donate. 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Enter and donate now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Movies that made you want to do something and inspired you. Listen to this from Paulo. Top Gun sealed my love for fighter planes, and I ended up in the South African Air Force. Cool stuff, that. 27 minutes past 3. Let's go to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. The focus today very much on the investigating directorate against corruption. We heard some evidence earlier today in the open, and then a session to this right now, I believe, in camera. Khumotso Modise is covering all of this for us and joins us now. Khumotso, what are we learning about the organization that people probably know better as IDAC? What's being revealed? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dr. John. Well, we've heard testimony today really more about the head of IDAC, and that is Andrea Johnson, and what she had allegedly done in what's been described as interference during a time when she was a senior prosecutor. Earlier this morning, a picture was painted by the witness who was testifying, that is of a retired police officer, Kobus Rulofse, who told the commission that he got a complaint from a colonel who was working with General Feroz Khan in the same office. And that colonel had told him that Khan, on one of the days in 2018, had come into the office, given her a phone, and she spoke to someone on the phone called Andrea, or described as Andrea. She would later learn that the person is Andrea Johnson, who was then a senior prosecutor. And Andrea Johnson asked her for her personal email address, told her that she would be sending something to her, and that once she had given that to General Khan, she should then delete the email. Now, we learned during the testimony today in Dr. John that what was sent to her was a docket or a criminal complaint that was laid by another police officer against General Khan for assault and intimidation. And what was alleged today by Rulofse is that Andrea Johnson had been interfering in this criminal investigation against General Feroz Khan. We also learned that Andrea Johnson got her hands on this criminal complaint and what resembles a docket from former journalist Barry Bateman. And that has also been explored by the Madlanga Commission today around why Barry Bateman was the one to give Andrea Johnson the contents of this complaint, and what the request was from Andrea Johnson and why she had asked Barry Bateman for this information. So that's the first part of what we've heard so far. The second part, in Dr. John, is into what happened when this colonel's complaint, had been laid with Colonel Rulofse. What Rulofse says he did is that once he learned about these allegations of interference against Andrea Johnson, he then approached General Godfrey Lebeya, who was the head of the Hawks at the time, who was actually his line manager, asked him to organize a senior prosecutor with then NPA head Shamila Batohi to investigate the interference allegations against Johnson. But then Batohi would approach Johnson and tell her and share the complaint with Johnson, revealing the details of this, the complainant as well as the whistleblower in all of this, to Andrea Johnson. So that is the second part of this. And the officers that have testified today have firstly said that they had to wait for Shamila Batohi to retire in order to approach the NPA once more for a prosecutor, because it seemed Batohi lacked the will to have a prosecutor investigate Andrea Johnson and the allegations of interference against her.
Lots going on at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, and it's still continuing. There'll be regular updates from Khumotso in the news bulletins on the half hour and at the top of the hour. And speaking of news bulletins, let's catch up with the news right now with Mbali Dlamini. It's 3:30. Right, let's get the very latest then from you, Mbali, to do as the news so often is these days with policing. What have you got? Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Well, almost a year since Feroz Kachalia was appointed acting police minister, DA leader Jordan Hill-Lewis, is appealing to President Cyril Ramaphosa to make a permanent appointment. He says the salary paid to a second police minister could be used to fund more police officers. Hill-Lewis made the demand today during his party's anti-crime march in Gqeberha, where local politicians say crime has spiked to such levels that residents are fearful to go about their daily lives. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
As a blue wave rolled through the wet weather in Galvin Park, where the community is ravaged by violence violence and gangsterism, DA leaders bemoaned the SAPS's inability to bring crime under control. Police Minister Senzo Mchunu has been on leave since allegations that he unlawfully disbanded the political killings task team. DA leader Jordan Hill-Lewis says an extra minister's salary could pay for more boots on the ground in areas like Galvin Park.
Both of them have been earning a full salary, 2.8 million rand a year. You know that with that salary, we could have hired 8 new police detectives.
In a letter to Ramaphosa, Hill-Lewis says whoever serves in the position of minister must have a clear and permanent mandate.
We cannot beat permanent crime with temporary ministers and temporary police leadership. We need a permanent police minister now.
He says a permanent minister must be given clear performance targets and held responsible for progress. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
The South African Reserve Bank says the country's financial system remains strong despite mounting global uncertainty and rising geopolitical tensions. Speaking at the Prudential Authority's annual media briefing today, Prudential Authority CEO Fundi Chazibana says South African banks and insurers remain well capitalized and are able to withstand economic shocks. Annelita Fandese has more.
While acknowledging continued global risks, including higher energy prices and geopolitical tensions, the Prudential Authority says South Africa's banking sector remains sound and well positioned to absorb future shocks. The central bank says it has completed the implementation of the Basel III banking reforms, introduced a positive counter-cyclical capital buffer, and strengthened its stress testing of financial institutions to ensure the sector remains resilient. The Reserve Bank has identified new risks emerging from AI, stablecoins and other crypto assets, saying regulators are working to ensure innovation does not come at the expense of financial stability. Annelita Fandese, Eyewitness News, Waterfall.
And German carmaker VW says it has no choice but to consider cutting up to 100,000 jobs worldwide over dwindling sales. Overall vehicle deliveries fell almost 9% in the April-June period from a year earlier, thanks to plunging demand in China. Sales had fallen just 4% in the first quarter. Europe's largest carmaker has come under intense pressure from US tariffs, slimmer profit margins from electric cars, and above all, intense competition in China, the world's largest auto market. It's a fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 20 and 22 degrees.
Traffic sluggish. Hermanstad, that's leaving the Pretoria CBD on Eskiam Pahlele between Van der Hof and the R80. Sharon Lee, also slow-moving traffic on Malibongo Drive between the N1 and Witkoppen. Protea Glen roadwork still slowing down traffic. N12 westbound approaching the R558.
The top story in EWN, almost a year since Feroz Kachalia was appointed acting police minister, DA leader Jordan Hill-Lewis is appealing to the president to make a permanent appointment.
What is special about this year's 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk is that it returns to where Walk the Talk all started, where we'll be walking in the inner city, celebrating the resurgence of the city of Johannesburg and celebrating the people who make it special. You should take part in this year's 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk because there's so much good stuff happening in the city of Johannesburg. The city is having a moment, and it's thanks to people and organizations who never stopped believing in the power and the magic of the city. So this year, I can't wait to be at the start of this momentous 702 Walk the Talk. I haven't been to Ellis Park in many, many years. So while I might not see you on the route, I'll definitely be at the beginning to see you off as you begin your journey through the inner city. To enter the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, go to primemediaplus.com and we'll see you there on the 26th of July.
As we gear up for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk hosted by the city of Joburg on Sunday 26 July, we're inviting you to help us make a difference this winter. 702 Weekend Breakfast with Gugs Mhlungu, together with MES Homeless Shelter, is running a clothing drive, and we'd love you to be part of it. If you have pre-loved clothing, warm jackets, jerseys, blankets, toiletries, or any non-perishable food items, please donate them. Drop your items off at our 702 studios at 15 Fredman Drive, Sandton. Together we can bring warmth and dignity to those who need it most. And remember, every single item makes a difference to someone. MES is a registered not-for-profit company that has been changing the hearts of the inner cities of Joburg, Cape Town, Gqeberha and Kempton Park. They've been doing it since 1986. 702, let's walk the talk.
We're giving you millions of reasons to celebrate with our selection of Lucky Millions Lotto draws. You could claim major jackpots when you pick numbers from thousands of daily draws. Choose numbers on UK 49s, Euro Millions and lots more from just R5 per line. Enjoy more chances and more ways to win all in one place. Grab your chance to celebrate extraordinary riches when you play Lucky Millions from Hollywood Bets. Bet now.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
As a business owner, you're always looking for ways to save money. But have you looked at saving on your business insurance premium? With Outsurance Business Insurance, you could save big, like Bosmansdam High School.
We were with our previous insurance for 10 years plus before switching to Outsurance Business Insurance.
We are saving 3,705 Rand per month.
It was so quick and easy, we should have switched sooner.
Ready to switch and save? Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Incredible Mazda moments of wonder await around every scenic twist and turn at 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Walk the Talk. Because on Sunday, 26th July, you get to discover 5 Mazda wonder experiences on the 8-kilometer route from a stunning Japanese garden to a world of color. Visit one and share your wonder moments on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Then tag and follow at Mazda SA using hashtag Mazda SA, and you could win your share of 50,000 Rand thanks to Mazda, where wonder awaits. Official vehicle partner of 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. T's and C's apply.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John. The two ladies who had a duet and in a form of a mother and a daughter. That's Sissy Houston and hi.
Good afternoon, Tate John and the team. There's a movie called American Pie. I used to be obsessed with that movie, and there's a guy there called Stifler. He's a party animal. When I was in varsity, I was like, you know what? When I grow up, I want to be like this guy. Like, he was popular. The ladies liked him and all that. Tate John. Yeah. I thought I'd turn out to be Stifler from the American Pie. Great show as always, guys. SK in Waterfall.
Yeah, that's an interesting take on that one. Kuma says, for me, LA Law made me want to be a lawyer. I wanted to even be a lawyer before the series, but that series really got me convinced. Yeah, LA Law was great, actually. And then Jane comes in with something different, not a career, an impact in regard to career choices or anything like that, but says, I saw Cry Freedom, the movie, at the Carlton Centre in 1990 as a privileged white 18-year-old raised in the northern suburbs amongst a group of traumatized black folk. It changed me forever. And Cry Freedom, of course, the Richard Attenborough movie about the relationship between Steve Biko and Donald Woods. The murder of Steve Biko is very front and center in that movie. Kevin Kline and Denzel Washington were the two lead actors in that, a movie that originally wasn't shown in South Africa when it came out in 1987, but I suppose part of a shift towards a different political order in the country, saw it being shown in 1990. So the question we asked a little bit earlier, and if you missed it, it was prompted by the fact that the movie Legally Blonde is 25 years old this week, and a wonderful piece in the British newspaper The Guardian about young women lawyers saying how inspirational they found Reese Witherspoon and her character in that movie, Elle Woods, were for their own, either convincing them of their decision to be lawyers, or if they had already, hadn't yet decided what they wanted to do, to say, you know what, I'm going to law school. And the stories are terrific. So check it out on the Guardian website.
EWN Sport.
So, Tolakele, this is a little bit strange, isn't it? Safa and Hugo Bruce. I mean, who gets to decide what Hugo Bruce does with his life? Tell us all about it.
Well, John, apparently it's not the coach, as it's mixed messaging from Safa and Hugo Bruce about the latter's future. That's after the Football Association denied the coach's own claims that he had left his post as Bafana Bafana head coach. In a statement, the football body insists that the 74-year-old remains head coach of Bafana and is expected back in the country later this month. They were responding to comments made by Bruce in an interview in his native Belgium, where he said he would not be staying in the post but was open to helping out as a consultant. On the pitch, Kylian Mbappe scored, registered an assist and had a penalty saved as France beat Morocco 2-0 in their FIFA World Cup quarter-final. That strike moves the Les Bleus forward level with Lionel Messi in the 2026 Golden Boot race with 8 goals, while he's now within one of the Argentines' all-time record of 21 tournament goals. Switching over to Wimbledon, where tomorrow's women's final will be an all-check affair. That's after Linda Noskova defeated Mata Kostic 7-6-4 and 6-4 to set up a clash with Karolina Muchova. It's the first major final of Noskova's career and means the championship game at SW19 will crown a first-time women's champion for the 9th consecutive year.
Yeah, well, we have never really met before until a couple of years ago as I came on tour. But she's a great player, great person especially. We got to know each other a lot during Olympics a couple of years ago. So we spent a lot of time together because we played doubles and almost got the medal. But I feel like that was the main week for us to kind of get to know each other. I didn't really know her well before, so this was the main event.
Currently on court is the first men's semi-final, and it's seen Alexander Zverev win the first set 7-6 against Arthur Ferry. An update from the second sees Ferry 1 love up. And over to the Nations Championship, where the Springboks and Scotland clash tomorrow at Loftus Stadium in both their second game of the tournament. Captain Sion Tupeloto says there's a quiet confidence in their camp about their chances of beating the double world champions. That's despite having never claimed victory on South African soil.
I won't get this opportunity again to come up with a team and develop with a team like I am right now. I feel like I'm in probably a rare space in my career where I'm not going to get this opportunity again to be coached by this coaching staff, to play with this group of players, you know, in the current state of where I am in my own career. So I'm very grateful to be in the space that I am and captaining this side. And yeah, I just want to make full opportunity. Like I said, I don't know when it's going to come.
Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
16 minutes to 4 to the roads we go, where Hermannstadt is giving us some difficulties. Karabo Charlie with that detail and everything else you need to know.
Yeah, Hermannstadt leaving the Pretoria CBD, traffic sluggish on Eskiam Patlele between Van der Hof and the R80, while in Sunninghill, traffic remains heavily backed up on Witkoppen Road between Maxwell Drive and Main Road due to ongoing roadworks, while in Sharon Lee, expect some delays on Malibongo Drive between the N1 and Witkoppen. And in Protea Glen, Soweto, we still have bumper-to-bumper traffic. N12 westbound, this is approaching the R558. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Things that you've been inspired to do because of movies. Squesh says, Wolf of Wall Street got me into sales. Okay, that's very interesting indeed. That movie was about all sorts of things, but definitely sales and selling and the powers of persuasion front and center. Billy says, yes, Money Heist, referring to the Spanish TV series, I think, and says, and I tried to rob the SA Reserve Bank. How's that going, Billy? They spent ages and ages stuck in the reserve banks. I'm not sure. I stopped watching that series, I must be honest. Never saw to the end. Tolakele, a movie that inspired you to do anything, big or small?
Any movie where we get to watch the main lead be in the kitchen where they're cooking and baking. I always look what they're making. I'm like, okay, maybe I can try that. And then I'll go on Pinterest and I'll search the recipe. Then I'll go to the shops. But it never turns out as good as it looks in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's normally the cooking part. It always inspires me to try a new recipe.
There's a wonderful website. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but things we wouldn't know if it wasn't for the movies. And the one I always thought looked persuasive was when you have a really bad breakup, you sit on the couch watching an old movie in your pajamas and you eat at least one tub of ice cream on your own, and then within about 15 minutes in movie time, so, let's be realistic, maybe 3 or 4 days, the person comes back and says, I've loved you all along and all of that. It hasn't worked. Certainly in my life, but the ice cream was good at least. Tell us what you've learned from the movies. What have the movies inspired you to do apart from eat ice cream and shed the odd tear, watch an old movie and restore your life as the love of your life comes back? Everybody's telling me that they were inspired to be a thief. Gavin says Ocean's 11 inspired me to be a thief. Gavin, same question as I had for Billy. How's that going for you? 13 minutes to 4.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
Well, let's turn our attention to a very, very important judgment today in the East London Regional Court, the inquest into the tragic death some 4 years ago, June 2022 to be precise, the death of 21 young people at the Enyobeni Tavern. Magistrate Mkhululi Lomalinde found the owner and manager liable for failing to enforce liquor laws and indicated clearly that this could possibly provide the basis for criminal prosecution. So how has this been received by the family and the families of those young people who lost their lives? Ntombi Zonke Mgangale is a parent, spokesperson and secretary of the families of the Enyobeni Tavern tragedy and joins us now. Ms. Mgangala, welcome and thanks very much for your time in, I'm sure, what is a very important moment for you and the other families as you, for example, reflect on the inquest, but also on the person you lost, your 17-year-old niece, Sinotando. And, many years later, we still offer you condolences on that loss. But how are you feeling about the decision of the court? Do you feel that finally your push for justice is on the road and heading in the right direction?
Good morning, sir, and the viewers. Thank you very much, sir, for contacting me. Yes, of course. As the parents of 21 children, we are out of the moon today about the rulings of the court. At least we have been crying about South African justice, but today they have proven to us that justice is still there. The fact that there are people who are responsible for the death of our children is making us very much happy now that there will be somebody who's going to be prosecuted on the death of our 21 children. Thank you.
What are you all hoping and expecting will happen next?
Right now, according to the South African justice, the matter now is going to be taken to the senior prosecutors and then the criminal case will follow. So that's what we are waiting for. And we are praying for the fact that they do not delay because it's been 4 years already now since we've been waiting. As much as we've got some information, but it's not enough. We're still having a lot of questions and we're hoping that the criminal case will be able to help us. So we're looking forward to it.
You spoke, Ms. Mgangala, about that you still have a lot of questions. I remember when some of the medical reports came back, there were questions that the family and spokespeople like yourself were raising. Did you ever get any answers on that? Because my recollection is that you had real doubts about those findings.
I'm not 100% certain.
Mm-hmm.
We are not 100% certain because out of the findings, it has been identified that there has been chemicals that were found in our children.
Yes.
Some of those chemicals are the chemicals that are supposed to be used for pesticides and so forth. And according to the forensic officers, they have mentioned the only 3 chemicals, but there are other chemicals that are also part of this. And remember, when the owner of the tavern, that is Mrs. Ndevu, was testifying, he told the court that after the incident, they have found a book with a list of a recipe onto how to make the homemade alcohol. And remember, it was said that methanol is also used to make the homemade alcohol. So we are wondering whether was there any poison due to that, which we hope the criminal case will be able to investigate more on that, because we would really want to know. And also say people outside there, they don't know most what led to the death of our children. And there are a lot of things that are being said about the death of our children, but yet people know nothing about it. So we wish that this criminal case could be able to root out all those things and tell us why those poisons were found into our children if there was no illegal alcohol there. Why there was that book with the recipe of illegal alcohol if there was no illegal alcohol. You get my point?
Yes, indeed. So, Ms. Mkangala, one of the other things that the magistrate Mkhululi Lomalindi made was that the South African Police Service were also negligent, that there had been complaints about the Enyobeni Tavern before, saying that they were contravening the Liquor Trading Act. The most recent of the complaints a month before this terrible tragedy. What are your thoughts as a parent and family group about what needs to happen with the police? Because the magistrate was very clear that they failed as well.
We wish SAPS could be prosecuted. Not just any prosecution. The prosecution that will enable them to pursue what they are employed for. Because remember, South African Police Services is our trust in terms of safety and security.
Yes.
So if now they are going to be this negligent, what does that mean to us as the communities when it comes to safety? And what does that mean when it comes to the communities and the societies when it comes to the alcohol sales? And remember, alcohol abuse now is sort of a little sort of pandemic that is growing. And you could see that even now the underage children are still having access to alcohol. Should they be able to strengthen what they are employed to do and do it properly without negligence, such things will not happen. Children are roaming around carrying alcohol and nothing is happening. The tavern owners are selling alcohol to our children, to even say the most people who are making business now are children because they've got money more than us as adults. So the only people who are responsible to put control on that is our police. So we really need the example to be made about their negligence in this matter.
Yes, it's very significant what you're saying, that despite what happened at Enyobeni 4 years ago, but despite the fact that this has been before the court in the form of an inquest, this is still a problem in your community. Of course, for you, Ms. Mkangala, and I'm sure for all the other parents and family members, satisfaction at the judgment, but I'm sure a time of also very sad and difficult memories of the young people that you've lost. I mean, for example, your niece would be 20 or 21 at this time. I mean, if their memories are to be properly honored, what needs to happen? Because I'm sure in the midst of feeling vindicated that what you said has now been confirmed by the court, there must be a sadness as well for the family members that you've lost.
There is sadness, but you know, it's 4 years now ever since the incident, and as we go on, we felt that the death of our children was not just any death, but it was a signal to the communities, to the society, to all those that are in authority when it comes to alcohol sales. How we wish this could be honored by those that are in authority. For an example, our wish is to have a wall of remembrance that will be erected in some of very important areas of
Yes.
Bukombo, where our children will be accessible, where even us as parents will be able to go into this wall of remembrance and show them that this is what alcohol is doing. If you consume alcohol not in the right manner, that's where you will end up in. Because remember, our children, it was between 13 and 21, but 90% of them, they were still under 18 years.
Well, we again wish you well and strength, and congratulations on your persistence, Ms. Mgangala. A difficult time, but a day definitely of vindication for Ntombi Zonke Mgangala, who lost her 17-year-old niece Sinotando in the Enyobeni Tavern, but also for the family and people close to the other 20 other young people who died in that. Well, next move is up to the NPA. We'll follow with great interest to see what they do as a follow-up to the pronouncements today of that inquest court. This is 702 Drive.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
Bafana coach Hugo Bruce has confirmed he will not continue in his role beyond the conclusion of the FIFA World Cup.
Bruce has been in charge of Bafana for the past 5 years and has largely been credited with turning the fortunes of a team that was often the punchline of jokes. He led the side to a first AFCON semi-final in more than 20 years in 2024 when Bafana won the bronze medal in the Ivory Coast. Along with re-energizing support for the national team, Bruce's crowning achievement in South Africa was helping Bafana qualify for the World Cup for the first time in 24 years and to a first ever knockout round appearance after finishing second in their group.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Light the fire this weekend with Checkers. We have everything you need to keep the braai and the gees going strong. Get deals like Farmstead pork rump, porterhouse or ribeye steak for only $99.99 per kilo. Championship boerewors, thick or thin, for just $109.99 per kilo. And Simple Truth lamb riblets for only $179.99 per kilo. Valid until 12 July. Only at Checkers.
You know when your people are giving their best, not because they're pushed or pressured, but because they feel supported. And support is making sure they're covered. So if something happens, they can get the care they need. FlexiCare Health Insurance makes it simple for every business to protect their people with affordable health cover. You care. We cover. For a tailored FlexiCare quote, speak to your financial advisor today. FlexiCare is not a medical scheme and the cover is not the same. FlexiCare is underwritten by Auto & General, a licensed non-life insurer and FSP, and administered by Discovery Health, an authorized FSP.
This Friday, 10th July, you could win an estimated 24 million rand total Powerball jackpot. That's a mega 14 million rand for Powerball and a massive 10 million for Powerball Extra. Catch the live draw this Friday at 9 p.m. on ETV and SABC. You could become SA's next multi-millionaire. The National Lottery. More plays, more chances, more millions.
Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The National Lottery is officially operated by Sizakaya.
This is EWN.
Police make a breakthrough in murder of activist Tato Molosangwe and controversial arrest warrant of Dumsane Khumalo now under review. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. We begin with news just in. Police have made a breakthrough in the murder investigation of crime activist Tato Molosangwe, with 2 people now arrested. Molosangwe was murdered at his Mahikeng home in the northwest just 2 months ago. Police say the 2 suspects were part of a large group that allegedly carried out the hit. Law enforcement officials are now on the search for additional suspects, with efforts also underway to recover the murder weapon. The arrest warrants issued by IDAC for SAPS Crime Intelligence head Dumsane Khumalo and Major General Nosipho Madondo have now been put on hold. This has been confirmed by National Director of Public Prosecutions Advocate Endi Mutibi. Mutibi addressed the matter of the failed arrests today during the launch of the IDAC Ombuds Office in Pretoria. IDAC initially said the warrants were not affected as the pair formed part of the team responsible for ensuring security arrangements for nationwide protests protest that took place on June 30th. Dimakatso Leshoro reports.
Speaking with journalists along with Justice Minister Mamoloko Kubai, NPA Director of Public Prosecutions, Andy Mutibi, says while the arrest warrants are on ice, they remain valid. He says they can only be cancelled by the magistrate who issued them, adding they are being reviewed by a team of prosecutors independent of IDEC to determine if they are warranted. This follows representations by Khumalo's legal team and the public outcry, Mutibi says.
Once the review is done, a decision will be made. Until the review is completed, the warrants will remain on hold.
IDEC attempted to arrest Khumalo and Madondo prior to the 30th of June demonstrations, but stopped, citing the two's involvement in the arrangements. Mutibi says once the process is complete, a decision will be taken on whether the warrants should be executed. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
The Madlanga Commission has heard a recording of an altercation between Senior Intelligence Officer Feroz Khan and a brigadier in the same unit, Leonora Petle. The Commission is dealing with evidence related to the investigating directorate and its head, Andrea Johnson. This morning, the Commission heard evidence that Johnson allegedly interfered in a criminal complaint laid by Petle against Khan. The Commission has heard a recording of a 2018 incident where Khan can be heard shouting at Petle.
Khan, if you're coming here to
not
shout
Khan,
at
I'm
me,
a general. Don't address me as Khan. That's the
see
last
now.
time you call me Khan.
You see now.
You call me general.
No, don't shout at me.
You call me general. You don't call me Khan. I'm not your friend. I'm your commander. Do not address me as Khan. Am I clear to you? Am I clear to you? Do not address me as Khan. You have discipline. Do you know standing orders of the police?
Petle had laid a complaint of assault and intimidation against Khan, but that case was closed allegedly after Johnson's interference. The owners of the now closed Enyobeni Tavern could face criminal prosecution over the deaths of 21 teenagers in June of 2022. The East London Regional Court sitting in Danzane has ruled there is prima facie evidence for criminal charges. The ruling comes 4 years after the tragedy during June's Pens Down celebrations at that establishment, Zulfa Khan reports.
The court found former tavern owners Sia Kangela and Vuyokazi Ndevu liable in connection with the deaths and ruled that their failure to comply with liquor regulations contributed to the tragedy. A tavern employee, an Eastern Cape Liquor Board official and an Eastern Cape Police sergeant were also found to have acted negligently. Eastern Cape Police spokesperson Ubuntu Katana says they are reviewing the judgment.
The SAPS remains committed to the rule of law and to transparency. We will issue a comprehensive response as soon as we have concluded our legal review and internal consultations.
The matter now rests with the Eastern Cape Director of Public Prosecutions, who will decide whether to institute criminal charges. Zulfa Khan, Eyewitness News.
And China has approved fast fashion retailer Shein's long-awaited Hong Kong initial public offering application. The IPO is a process in which a private company sells its shares to the general public for the first time. By going public, a company transforms from a private entity into a publicly traded corporation listed on a stock exchange. AFP is reporting that Shein's plans is to sell up to 341.6 million shares. Gold is trading at $4,103.11 an ounce. The rand is at 16.32 to the dollar, 21.90 to the pound, 18.65 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $76.17 a barrel.
Traffic heavily backed up in Sunning Hill. This is on Witkoppen Road between Maxwell Drive and Main Road, while in Sharon Lee also expect delays on Malibongo Drive between the N1 and Witkoppen. Pimville, Soweto, there's slow-moving traffic on Chris Hani Road. This is from Bara Hospital all the way to Klipspruit Valley Road.
A fine Saturday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg dropping to overnight lows of 4 degrees, peaking at 18. Pretoria 5 and 20, and Vereeniging 3 and 19 degrees.
In your sport, SAFA deny Hugo Broos's claim that he's no longer Bafana head coach. Kylian Mbappe keeps pace with Lionel Messi as France advances to the World Cup semi-finals. And Linda Noskova looks ahead to an all-Czech Wimbledon final.
The top story in EWN, police have made a breakthrough in the murder investigation of crime activist Tato Molosankwe, with 2 people being arrested.
EWN in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy that connects us all.
That's what makes this one so special.
In 702, Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 7 minutes past 4. How's your weekend taking shape? I know many people are still at work. I certainly am, alongside the rest of the 702 Drive team. But hopefully you've got some great things coming up on the weekend. Please do give us a call on that. If you've got something that we need to wish you well for or hold thumbs for or whatever it might be, maybe congratulations are in order because you're doing something special or celebrating something special that's already been done. Either way, you know where to get us, 072 702 1702. We're going to be talking in this half hour about what is taking shape as a legal wrangle around the 100th running of the Comrades Marathon. It's something that will be an absolutely memorable occasion. I can only imagine that people who have run the Comrades before are absolutely dead set on being part of the centenary running of the race, but there's a dispute taking shape between the KwaZulu-Natal Athletics Association, or KZN Athletics, shall I say, and the Comrades Marathon Association. Lawyers already involved in that. We'll find out exactly, certainly from the Comrades Marathon Association perspective, what exactly is going on there. Mark Leathers is chair of that organization and joins us shortly. Randall's One Song coming up a little bit later at 10 to 5. And then returning to some of the big issues at the moment, this recall of 11,000 BMWs yesterday or earlier this week. I can't remember which day it was. I think it might have been Wednesday. Either way, that brings to a total of 20,000 vehicles all told that have been recalled in the first 6 months of this year alone. And we had plenty of recalls last year. We're going to try and get a better sense of what exactly is going on because there will be individual issues. But I think this is becoming really something of a pattern, and it's been going on for a while. We'll see what we can find out after 5. 702 Drive, we asked you a little bit earlier, movies that have actually influenced you and the way you've gone about making your decisions, movies and TV series. And we've got some great messages which we're going to share with you in a moment. But I just want to read this one, which starts off by saying, Airwolf, 2 exclamation marks, and 702. 2 exclamation marks. Let me elaborate, says this listener. I watched Airwolf in the 80s, watched every episode, recorded it, and probably watched it 1 million times after. But the 702 helicopter landed at my school to do flips with a pilot mic. I walked up to the machine while it had shut down and looked inside the cockpit. From that day, I knew what I wanted to do in my life. And yes, I eventually became a commercial helicopter pilot in January of 2010. My dream did come true eventually. I would just maybe rephrase the last sentence. Your dream, probably came true. I suspect you made it come true and put in a huge amount of effort and investment of other things to do that. Brilliant. Lovely story. Let's hear a few more.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Afternoon, John. The movie that have inspired me based on the storyline, it was the Equalizer from Denzel Washington. So the inspiration behind that movie for me, it was like to help those that they cannot help themselves, or those that are in need of help. So that's the inspiration. If you have watched that movie, you understand what I'm talking about. Thank you. X from Hartis.
Hi, Daddy John. Yeah, for me, a movie that inspired me is Eat, Pray and Love. I know it was shot in a number of locations, but it made me fall in love with Italy. I ended up going there in 2021. I went to Rome. Yeah, it was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful movie. I mean, I got to see the landscapes on that movie, and I just thought, yeah, I just want to see myself in Italy. Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one. So I'm really really inspired by movies that bring about the architecture, the history, and the beautiful world that we live in. Thank you for a great show. Bye.
Hi, John. I watched a movie called Inherit the Wind with Spencer Tracy. And I wanted to be a lawyer, and that was even confirmed by And Justice for All, starring Al Pacino. Never got to be that, but at least I'm an actor. Silo Magagangube here.
Yeah, thanks for that, Silo. Inherit the Wind, I think, was about the legal cases that came around, arose out of the teaching of Darwin and evolution in schools in the US South. I'll Google that, but lovely. Thank you for that, Silo, and everybody else as well. Funny says, the movie 3 Idiots inspired me to follow my dreams. Bollywood movie that really was a global sensation. Not a movie I've seen, but that's certainly what I've read about it. 13 minutes past 4.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS the word out to 45142 now, and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Sunning Hill getting busy. There's some other areas that we need to tell you all about. Here's your man, Karabo Charlie. Good afternoon.
Yeah, we still have those roadworks causing delays. This is if you are heading towards Sunning Hill on approaching the intersection of Rivonia Road and Witkoppen. Bryanston also traveling towards Fourways. Traffic backed up. N1 southbound from Rivonia Road to Witkoppen, while in Sharon Lee, expect some delays on Malibonga Drive. Between the N1 and Witkoppen, Pimville, Soweto, slow-moving traffic on Chris Hani Road between Barra Hospital and Klipspruit Valley Road, while in Protea Glen, there's also bumper-to-bumper traffic heading into Lenasia, N12 westbound approaching the R558, and in the city of Tshwane, leaving the Pretoria CBD, traffic sluggish in Hermanstad on Eskiam Patlelem between Van der Hof and the R80. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
15 minutes chatting with your office bestie goes by quickly, but 15 minutes stuck in traffic just drags on. And on. Fortunately, the Outsurance pointsmen are here to save the day. These heroes in green and purple have been easing traffic congestion. They've been doing it for the past 20 years. The Outsurance pointsmen, helping everyone get where they need to be quickly and safely. Just another way you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using hashtag pointsmenlove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebohile Maboja. 1 to 3 p.m.
I'm sure you were looking at your birth certificate saying, I cannot wait, Ibe ID. Ibe 18.
Yeah.
Ke bone. So now, when all of that happened, did you continue playing or did you just completely stop? When Mama said it's not happening, you're not going anywhere, how did you keep the dream alive within you?
I left home. She made me to stop when I was in high school. So I stopped completely. I was not playing in high school.
Oh.
So when I went to college, I was not staying with my mom. So I then went back to football. And when I got selected for the province, she was shocked.
Because she didn't know you were busy playing behind her back.
Yes.
Ms. She-Ref Akona Makalima.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebohile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
The 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk is calling on you to walk with the people for the people on Sunday, 26 July. Babize Bonke. And this year you can choose from 3 different inner city routes. The 5-kilometer Victoria Yards route takes you from Ellis Park through the inspirational Joburg Cricket Club into Victoria Yards and past the Troyville Hotel. You then finish off at Ellis Park. So whether you're taking on the 5K, 8K or 15-kilometer route, enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg.
Score big with the Checkers XXL Savings Championship with over 150 million rand in weekly extra savings. Get Floralite regular or gold 1 kg or Proactive fat spread 500 grams, any two for 110 rand. Yum Yum peanut butter 800 grams for 69.99 and Maggie 2-minute noodles 68 grams 5 per pack, any two for 58 rand. Valid until 12 July, only at Checkers.
You're up before everyone else. You're building something real. Absa Business Banking, powered by Visa, gives you everything you need to get going. Open a business account in 10 minutes, buy a point-of-sale device for $7.99, and get a credit card all in one place. We get it. Running a business is hard. Your banking shouldn't be. Search Business Starter Pack. Your story matters. Absa is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
17 minutes past 4. Well, the Comrades Marathon every year is an epic event. It's one that involves so many people who listen to 702 and, of course, people from all around the country. There is, on the one hand, the elite race, which invariably provides thrilling competition and, in the case of this year, record-breaking performances. And then there is everyone's personal battle with this incredibly challenging event. But next year was always going to be particularly special because this is the 100th running of the Comrades Marathon, and a date has been set for that, 13th of June 2027. That date was announced recently, in fact last month the date was announced, but this has prompted, according to a piece written by the sports writer at News 24 Keenan Hemmonsby, has prompted legal action from KwaZulu-Natal Athletics, who have issued a cease and desist letter to the Comrades Marathon Association. I suppose the good thing about this wrangle is that it's happening with quite a lot of time still to try and solve it. But let's try and find out what the dispute is about in the first place, and welcome to 702 Drive Mark Leathers, who's chairperson of the Comrades Marathon Association. Mr. Leathers, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. What is at the heart of this dispute, certainly from CMA's perspective? How do you understand it? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John, and thanks very much for having me. From CMA's perspective, to put this bluntly, it is seen as a political stunt.
Mm-hmm.
There is, firstly, nothing in law, in any national act, in ASA's constitution, in anything that requires affiliation to an athletics federation in order to legally host a road running event.
Okay.
That said,
no, please carry on.
South Africa approved the dates.
Sorry, we spoke across each other for a moment. I thought you were pausing, but can you say what you've just said again? Because I missed it, and I'm sure the listeners did too.
I said, that said, Athletics South Africa at the end of 2025 gave us a written approval for the 2026, 2027, and 2028 date. Accordingly, the CMA says, number one, we didn't need approval, but despite that, we've got the approval from the National Federation.
Okay, so a political stunt. There's a cease and desist letter from lawyers. I don't know how much further this could take it. KZN, KwaZulu-Natal Athletics, the KZNA, has sent the letter stipulating that you forthwith cease and desist from making and or causing any third party to make, express, issue, etc., false and misleading statements in relation to the hosting of the 2027 Comrades Marathon, pending approval of CMA's application. That would suggest that you submitted an application to KZNA. First of all, did you do so? And if you did, why did you do so, given that, as you've just said to us, Athletics SA has already approved the date?
The application was submitted last year already, because when ASA approved the date, they sent us the approval along with a request to state, please contact KwaZulu-Natal Athletics in order for you to get through their provincial side as well. In other words, keep them updated as a courtesy. That was the reason that the application form was lodged. And it's the standard practice to go about with these big events getting onto the calendars. But that was done purely from a spirit of cooperation and at the request of ASA.
So the framing of ASAs, it's obviously not an instruction, but communication. Let's keep it neutral. Mr. Leathers, to you, in regard to engaging with KZNA on this, were they very clear that please inform them, or did they say, please confirm with them? I mean, at this point, I'm being a little legalistic in language, but of course, it's already getting legal. So I hope my question makes sense.
Well, you're talking to a lawyer by trade, so
okay,
I can
good.
appreciate
Yes.
But no, it was very much please inform them.
Yes.
And that has been confirmed by the fact that the National Road Running Chair from ASA has said that he applied the same to a number of big events, including Two Oceans, Cape Town Marathon, and interestingly enough, the Durban International Marathon as well. And it was a case of, I have approved the dates, please just update your provincial federation. So
obviously, there's the immediate practicality of this, albeit the fact that the race is a distance away. But nevertheless, my understanding, as soon as you finish one, comrades, you get busy preparing for the next one, especially one that has the significance of the centenary in 2027. But in addition to practicalities, is there any way of fixing this relationship? Because it can't be good for athletics in general and road running in particular to have this kind of wrangle, particularly in the province where the race is run.
Well, from the CMA's side, we have consistently and repeatedly reached out to both KZNA and ASA to say, guys, we want to work with you. We want to be your partners. As a private organization, we can achieve some things that you can't as essentially a branch of government.
Yes.
So let us put our respective skill sets and resources together for the good of athletes and the good of road running. Unfortunately, that has by and large not been met with any response at all in actual fact, other than, for an example, the letter received from KZNA's attorneys. Again, today there was a meeting between the parties to try and reach a point where we can say, let's work together. And the CMA will continue to try to achieve that result.
So one of the things that Keenan Hemmonsby alludes to in the piece that I mentioned at the start, Mr. Leathers, is that KZNA is saying that there are levies owed from last year's race. A number of 4 million rand has been meant. I suppose a two-part question. Is there a legal and standing arrangement between yourselves and KZNA that money out of the comrades does flow to the provincial body? And if there is such legal agreement, can you comment on either whether it's been paid or this amount is not accurate?
Historically, there has been a practice, firstly, of levies being paid, calculated at 10% of the entries received. That picture changed when the Comrades Marathon withdrew as a member of KwaZulu-Natal Athletics at the end of 2025. So this year, when we received the invoice from them for levies, we didn't turn around, and the amount firstly is 3,100,000 odd.
Okay.
We didn't turn around and say we are not paying it. We did turn around and say, guys, the situation has changed.
Mm-hmm.
We are no longer a member. So considering that, please will you set out the legal basis on which you say that these levies are due. Do that and we will pay it with pleasure.
Yes.
But in the absence of that, how do we justify a 3 million rand expenditure item to our members and to our auditors, bearing in mind that we're accountable essentially to charity as a non-profit? We've yet to receive a response.
Is there, again, if one looks into a future in which things are less heated, less acrimonious, and less focused on the specifics of an upcoming event, does the CMA see a role for yourselves as investing in a provincial body, as an investment in the sport, be it track and field, which is not directly road running, but you are first cousins, I think it's fair to say. Would you contemplate in a relationship that is less acrimonious the idea that, hey, let's invest in the sport at its grassroots level if KZNA delivers on that effectively?
100%, John, and that is what we've been pushing. We've been saying, you know what, guys, instead of coming around and asking us for millions of rands with no legal basis and no accountability, let us invest even more money and resources in development of coaching, in development of technical officials, in potentially at a national level. You might have seen in the news that ASA has said they haven't got the money to send the under-20s to the World Championships.
Right.
In all sorts of things like that. And that is what the CMA is waiting for. The CMA is waiting for these federations to calmly, rationally, and as partners come and engage with us, because we've got a desperate desire to do more. But that needs to have open engagement in order to realize that.
And just finally, away from this particular thing, and obviously we'll watch as it unfolds, and this may well have been communicated and everybody already knows, but for people who may not, how are you going to decide who gets to run in Comrades number 100? Has that all been decided on, clearly set out and communicated, or is there something that you could use this opportunity to share with our many, many listeners who are actually hoping to run?
It hasn't been finalized as of yet, but it will most definitely within the next couple of weeks. It's not going to be a months long delay. There will almost inevitably be, again, some early entry window in some way, shape, or form for CMA members and green number runners, obviously to try and reward loyalty and involvement. But over and above that, it is almost unequivocally going to be a ballot entry on the similar basis to what you see for London and the other world major marathons, because there's just so much interest and so much demand. It is impossible to cater to everyone. And a simple first come, first serve, unfortunately, nails everybody who's sitting in the opposite corners of the globe.
Yes. Wow. Thank you very much. So much still to chat about in the future, and we'll follow this with interest. We'll try and get KZN Athletics on the show, if not today, then on Monday. That was Mark Leathers, chairperson of the Comrades Marathon Association. 29 minutes past 4. Let's get the latest from the world of business.
EWN Business.
Ray White, good afternoon.
Hi, John. Good afternoon. Well, not a bad day on the markets. Your share up 0.75% this afternoon, now at 110,304 points. Some of the stocks that came under pressure this week have regained some ground. South 32 just up over 4. Kumba gaining 5.6. We Buy Cars up 3.8. So you can see what's happened there. All regaining some lost territory today. Losses, though, for Canal Plus down about 3%, and then Karoo losing about 2%. But many emerging market stocks and currencies have gained today. Although the FTSE, CAC and DAX are relatively flat, the Dow Jones rose 135 points or 0.26% at the open there. However, developments in the Middle East have put some stocks on track for weekly declines anyway. AI stocks have also risen this week, but South Korean chipmaker SK Hynix is the big attraction today. With its US market debut, this will test an AI demand and set the tone for the sector before quarterly earnings. South Korea's benchmark Kospi advanced 2.5%, while Hong Kong's benchmark Hang Seng rose about 0.5% as well this morning. Iran now also standing its ground, slightly stronger today against the dollar, now 16.29. The pound 21.85. Euro 18.61. Platinum $1,626.20. Gold's at $4,104. $4.36. And oil has continued standing its ground too. Brent crude is now $76.09. More business news for you in an hour.
Thanks, Ray. From the world of business to the world and everything that's making news. Here's Mbali Dlamini. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Well, the ANC has now approached the Western Cape Premier to determine whether Tony Leon's Resolve Communications has been awarded any provincial government contracts. Former DA leader John Steenhuisen had drawn the party's founding leader into claims of impropriety, accusing him of lobbying DA members for preferential treatment for his public relations company. Camry Clark reports.
The ANC's Western Cape leadership claims Resolve Communications has been influencing political discourse through Bell Pottinger-style PR tactics. That British firm was implicated in the state capture project, and the UK's Public Relations and Communications Association ultimately expelled it following a complaint by the DA. Now the ANC claims Tony Leon's PR company has been trying to highlight clean and good governance in the province, while a constitutional court judgment and a public protector's report have found otherwise. Leader of the opposition in the Western Cape legislature, Khalid Sayed, says Premier Alan Windey and former local government MEC Anton Bradell must respond.
We've asked for a list of all municipalities in the Western Cape that have done work with Resolve Communications, right, from 2009 when the DA took over in the province to date.
He says they are investigating whether this points to broader corruption and state capture, adding they will approach parliamentary committees if wrongdoing is uncovered. Camry Clark, Eyewitness News.
The South African Reserve Bank says the country's financial system remains strong despite mounting global uncertainty and rising geopolitical tensions. Speaking at the Prudential Authority's annual media briefing, Prudential Authority CEO Fundi Chazibana says South African banks and insurers remain well capitalized and are able to withstand economic shocks. Annelita Fandese reports.
While acknowledging continued global risks, including higher energy prices and geopolitical tensions, the Prudential Authority says South Africa's banking sector remains sound and well positioned to absorb future shocks. The central bank says it has completed the implementation of the Basel III banking reforms, introduced a positive counter-cyclical capital buffer, and strengthened its stress testing of financial institutions to ensure the sector remains resilient. The Reserve Bank has identified new risks emerging from AI, stablecoins and other crypto assets, saying regulators are working to ensure innovation does not come at the expense of financial stability. Annelita Fandese, Eyewitness News, Waterfall.
And a man was nearly sucked out of the window of a Ryanair flight when it detached mid-air on its way to Germany. The passenger, a tourist from Serbia, has been hospitalized with friction burns but was otherwise in a good condition. During the ordeal, other passengers on the flight pulled him back inside the plane. According to reports, the incident occurred over North Macedonia, where the window had been broken by a piece of debris that detached from one of the plane's engines. In a statement, Ryanair said the aircraft landed normally and a replacement aircraft was made available to transport the remaining passengers. In your weather, a fine Saturday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Lows of between 3 and 5 degrees and highs of between 18 and 20.
Roadworks causing heavy delays in Sunning Hill approaching the intersection of Rivonia Road and Witkoppen. Bryanston traffic also heavily backed up. This is heading towards four ways N1 South from Rivonia Road to Witkoppen. Sharon Lee, you can still expect delays on Malibongo Drive between the N1 and Witkoppen Road.
The top story in EWN, the ANC has now approached the Western Cape Premier to determine whether Tony Leon's Resolve Communications has been awarded any provincial government contracts.
What's so exciting for me about this year's event is that we're going back to a place I know so well. I just haven't been there for so long. I'm so excited about going to that precinct around the CBD, the life, the people, the history that is there. All of that is what makes me so excited about this year's Walk the Talk. You should take part in this year's Walk the Talk because it's a coming together of the 702 family of a community. If you like that feeling of being part of something, of what watching your children being a part of something bigger than you. That's what the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk is all about. This year I'm going to walk the full 15 Ks. I want to see as much of the inner city of Joburg as I can. I want to walk it in a way I've never walked it before, and that's important for me. To enter 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, go to primemediaplus.com. It's very simple. We'll see you there. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. We're going to have a great time.
The 139 million rand Powerball extra cascading jackpot has been won. 3 people walked away with over 45.7 million rand each. The tickets were bought on the Standard Bank and FNB apps and won in-store Checkers Hyper in Alberton. Don't forget to play the Powerball this Friday. The total estimated Powerball jackpot is 24 million rand. And the next winner could be you. The National Lottery. More plays, more chances, more millions. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The National Lottery is officially operated by Sizwe Kaya.
Sure, they aced it. The Championship's Wimbledon experience with the Mzansi Advantage is back at Amex Tennistown Monte Casino between 11 and 12 July 2026. Enjoy VIP hospitality, the ultimate big screen experience, a kids fun zone, and so much more. Buy your tickets now on Howler and get 50% off on limited tickets when you use your Amex card. Tennis is better with Amex. American Express Cards is operated under license in South Africa by Nedbank, a licensed financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Right, gang. Are we all in? Liam? Here. Ethan? Here. Andrew? Here. Luca? Luca? Yeah. Amelia? Yeah. Violet? Yeah, Mom. Introducing the Chungun CS75 Pro. A powerful turbocharged engine, modern safety features, and room with 7 seats. For everyone. Hey, that's not everyone. You forgot Choppy, Mom. Oh, Choppy. The all-new CS75 Pro.
Chungun. Driven to evolve.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Brother John and Tim, I watched Rain Man and it touched me so much. I recall even keeping the Time magazine that actually had an article or articles about autism. And guess what? My nephew is autistic. He's 23 years old now and he cannot speak, but is a perfect human being. Love him to bits. And that encounter with Rain Man and subsequent Time magazine article or vice versa has helped me or helped us, my sister and family, to cope and understand what autism is all about.
Hi John, just with some movies that inspired us. For me it was Passion of the Christ by Mel Gibson, as well as The Martian starring Matt Damon. It really convicted me on my beliefs on theology, as well as what it takes to explore the cosmos in terms of just agriculture on another planet and being dynamic in a hostile environment. So yeah, Passion of the Christ and The Martian, those were very inspiring movies for my nerdy brain.
Hi, Dr. John. A movie that inspired me, in fact, there's 2. One is The Boiler Room with Giovanni Ribisi and Vin Diesel. That's The Boiler Room. So I was starting to become a chartered accountant. After I watched that movie, I decided to change course and I ended up becoming a stockbroker. And then the second movie that inspired me to change my career was The Wolf of Wall Street. After watching that movie, I decided to leave stockbroking and I went into commodity trading. And I have been doing that since. Bomi from Santon. Cheers.
Yeah, fabulous. Really interesting what movies have inspired people to do. And sometimes it's a kind of a one-off thing. Leslie says, the movie Under the Tuscan Sun. And I went to Italy. What a gorgeous country. I haven't seen the movie, but I've been to Italy a couple of times. And you can never go there enough, in my view. 20 minutes now to 5 o'clock.
EWN Sport.
1 quarterfinal settled, 3 more to come. Let's catch up on everything out at the World Cup with Tolakele Mganga.
The EWN World Cup Desk. The latest scores, the biggest stories, and the moments everyone's talking about.
While England defender Jarrell Quansah will miss Saturday's World Cup quarter-final against Norway and the subsequent semi-final should the Three Lions progress. That's after he was handed a 2-game ban by FIFA. Quansah was shown a straight red card against Mexico in the last 16, but only after a VAR review. The English Football Association explored options to appeal his suspension. That's after USA striker Florent Balogun's ban was controversially suspended by FIFA. At the same time, Erling Haaland is looking forward to playing against the country of his birth when the Vikings go up against the Three Lions. He's been a revelation in his debut World Cup campaign, scoring 4 goals to make it 27 from his last 14 consecutive competitive games.
It's a special game, yeah, definitely. I think for me it's super special because I play in England and I'm born in England, and yeah, you also play against teammates and everything, so it's a bit, it's not weird, but it's, I don't know the name in English. It's a funny game and it's going to be nice.
For Belgium, their quarter-final preparations have been hit by a club versus country row over Zeno de Bast. His club, Sporting Lisbon, have banned him from playing against Spain. That's because of a disagreement over his fitness, having suffered a thigh injury in late May. Without him, the Red Devils will hope to become the first team to breach La Roya's net when they clash this evening. And Dodi Ndagoli has discussed the growth in the team throughout the tournament.
I think we have a lot of quality, but it's also important for us to grow as a team. That's what we are doing now in the World Cup. We had, I think we could do much better in the group phase, but we growed, and today we are showing that we have more confidence, and with the results it helps us a lot, and we are showing our quality definitely.
And the Egyptian Football Association have extended the contract of head coach Hossam Hassan after a successful campaign at the World Cup. That's where they were knocked out in the last 16. The 59-year-old was appointed in February 2024 but has been working without a deal since February 2026. Over the last 8 months, he helped the Pharaohs to a first World Cup victory while they reached the semi-finals of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. Tholakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
From kickoff to the final whistle, this is the EWN World Cup Desk.
EWN Traffic.
At 17 minutes to 5, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Karabo Charlie joining us with the latest. Hi.
Yes, John, at this stage, Sunning Hill, we still have those roadworks causing heavy delays approaching the intersection of Rivonia Road and Witkoppen. In Bryanston, traffic also heavily backed up on the N1 South from Rivonia Road to Witkoppen. In Sharon Lee, expect some delays on Malibongo Drive between the N1 and Witkoppen Road. Pimville, Soweto, we still have slow-moving traffic on Chris Honey Road. This is between Bara Hospital and Klipspruit Valley Road. Still in Soweto, Protea Lane, driving into Lenasia. Bumper-to-bumper traffic, N12 westbound, approaching the R558. And in Hermanstad, Pretoria, leaving the CBD, traffic remains sluggish on Eskiam Pahlele between Van der Hof and the R80. For the latest traffic updates, you can also follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Clever excuses for being late, number 92. I had to rescue my cousin's neighbor's cat from a tree. Fortunately, with the Outsurance pointsman on the roads, you no longer have to come up with creative excuses for being late. The Outsurance pointsmen have been easing traffic congestion so we all get to where we need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer in the FSP.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 4:45. Still to come on the show, our regular Friday features. Randall's one song. Randall acknowledging the passing this week of Bonnie Tyler. He's picked a song and he'll have some interesting things to say about an artist that many people enjoyed over the years. And then in the last part of the show, at around 20 to 6, we'll be joined by Tsepo Mohlala, the man who created, founded and drove to a point of success and sustainability the brand Tsepo Jeans. Really looking forward to hearing about some of the things behind that journey and the road that he's walked. That's coming up, as I said, at about 20 to 6. Now, we were talking about the Comrades Marathon, a dispute between the Comrades Marathon Association and KZN Athletics. park that off to one side. But one of the things we got a response to, because we played sound from Gerda Steyn at the end of this year's race and the extraordinary time and achievement that accompanied her delivery on the uprun. And Michael sent us a note that says, excellent. And what he's referring to is a conversation that Gerda Steyn had with Dr. Michael Mole on a podcast called Health Matters. It's brought to you by Cipla, and it's hosted on the Prime Media Plus site. There's really excellent stuff there. This was a particularly good conversation, as Michael acknowledges in his message to us. So if you're interested in running and just interested in excellent conversation and journalism, Health Matters, you'll find it, as I said, on the Prime Media Plus site. But it made me wonder, podcasts, because my podcast listening has dipped a little bit. I'm doing a lot more audiobooks in the time that I devote to that kind of engagement. But I have some real favorites, but I'm just wondering if you have some podcasts you can recommend, because I need to just kind of freshen up the list that the little library that I have in my phone. So podcast suggestions, give us the name and then tell us why that one is so brilliant. Just a couple of words and that can help guide us. Tolakele, are you a devourer of podcasts, a sampler? Is it radio tapas for you, or is it like a rack of ribs and you do plenty of it?
Do plenty of it, John. It's a whole variety of things. In terms of sports, my main podcast that I listen to is the Athletics Talk of the Devils, because it's a podcast that is just dedicated to Manchester United news, and it's for an hour, and Carl Anker and Andy Mitten, the work that they do is fantastic. Every week it gets loaded, and also they help you understand the club, not just performances on the pitch, but like how everything behind the scenes just links up with it. And then there's Taylor Nardoni. A lot of people probably know him from TikTok, but he has like 20-minute episodes every week on Apple's podcasts that he uploads it. And then my favorite Wednesday podcast is the Girls Meeting, Because We Said So, which Lanzi and ZX Online, Sikarava even knows it. I think like they currently have 100,000 subscribers. Guys, please go support them. It only started a year ago, but it's honestly, it's the best thing about a Wednesday. For an hour, you just get to be with other girls. You're in the comments. Everybody has the same experience. But the one thing that they're always pushing is for women to know their power and understand that they are the prize, and they're always uplifting other women. And it's just a fun little hour for everybody to be together.
So three excellent selections there. How about you, Karabo Charlie?
Yeah,
do you do podcasts?
Not much, but the one favorite is the one that you recommended a year ago, This American Life. I find it extremely funny, where they have guests, random people who come share their stories, random stories that maybe something funny happened or it was a complete disaster, and the way they narrate the story is actually quite funny. One of the stories, there was they invited a cop who they were supposed to, he told the story that he was responding to a house call where there was a squirrel in the house. And instead of calling the professional animal rescue or whatever, he took this upon him to find the squirrel, and it was a complete mess. He left the house completely,
he almost burnt the house down.
Yeah, 100%. And one of the husband's nose got broken somehow, so it was a disaster. And the other one was a school play, Peter Pan.
Yes.
It was a complete mess, but the way they tell the story, it's so funny.
Yeah, This American Life is great. So I'll recommend a couple. If you like music, there is a fabulous podcast called Song Exploder, where they take popular songs and they break them down, and they do it in the company of the people who made the songs. So, for example, somebody will say, well, we started with the bass line, and then they've got the sample of the bass line, and they take famous and not so famous songs and explain exactly how they're made. Malcolm Gladwell hosts something wonderful called Revisionist History, and there's an American podcast that I particularly enjoy, which is about not only current affairs, but they interview very interesting people, or the host, a woman called Terry Gross, does, called Fresh Air. And there's dozens and dozens of others that are excellent as well. But please send us your suggestions. I would like to expand my library. And don't forget Health Matters on our website, Prime Media Plus. It really is well worth listening to. 702 Drive, 9 minutes to 5.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John. I know you're an Arsenal fan. You should listen to this podcast by this guy called Curtis Shaw. It's called Curtis Shaw TV. He's a former professional footballer, and he's also an Arsenal fan. He talks about everything Arsenal. I think you'd enjoy it. Presto from Benoni.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
It appears that law enforcement is starting to put pressure on government to say, hey man, we can't be marching every day. Once the people of any country begin to say, you as our government have been missing in action in a particular job that you should be doing, and we are going to do it ourselves. That for me is a sign that government has lost control of that space. I'm hoping that all of these efforts are going to make sure that government begins to accelerate some of the issues that are being called for.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
If you're a fan of the beautiful game, you'll recognize this. And this. But what about this? It's your chance to score big time. Win your share of up to 2 million rand with Standard Bank. It's game day every day. To enter, open and use any qualifying Standard Bank account, in-app or in branch. Already a Standard Bank customer? Sign up for Standard Bank Connect online to get a bonus entry. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Welcome to Nando's Taste-Demonials.
It's the flavor!
Real reviews by real people. Nadine from Belito is no scallop, but she did call the flame-grilled half chicken in Nando's unique peri-peri recipe with a single side of your choice for $125 dope. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, sorry. Relax, Nadine. The only thing we're busting here is your hunger. Okay? Nando's. Oh, what a place.
I'm Zola Nene, working with Ladies of Love to nourish small children who need our helping hands. Join us at Ladies of Love's Mandela Day hands-on events at DHL Stadium on 17 July or Johannesburg Expo Center on 22nd July and spend 67 minutes hand-making items to grow our future leaders. Tickets are 300 Rand, and this gives a child healthy meals for a month. Be a hands-on hero. Visit ladiesoflove.org.za for tickets today.
Randall's One Song on 702 Drive with John Perlman.
702 Drive with John Perlman.
Okay, so today we're going to focus with Randall Abrams, as we do every Friday, on Bonnie Tyler, who passed away this week at the age of 75. People engaging with that news in terms of the music. Some people very much reflecting on the role her music played in movies like Footloose. But Randall, a very good afternoon to you. You'll introduce the song you've chosen out of a few that you could have picked. But Bonnie Tyler, I mean, where do you place her? How would you describe her? What was her impact as an artist? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John. I think we're going to listen to a song from Footloose, and I guess that very gravelly voice of hers was perfectly suited to really, really big 80s productions, the type of production by, in this case, Jim Steinman, that very few other producers would be able to get away with, rather. He'd obviously worked with Meatloaf, and the song Holding Out for a Hero has a lot of influences from various Meatloaf songs that Steinman produced. In this case, he was working with a writer who wrote all the songs for Footloose, and they co-wrote the song because Bonnie Tyler was asked in order to perform a song on Footloose, and she said, fine, as long as Jim Steinman can produce. She had obviously had a massive worldwide hit with Total Eclipse from the Heart. And I think there's something to be said about the fact that, you know, sometimes, you know, things like this that are so over the top and should just not be right just happen to work.
Yes.
And I guess that it's the case of the 80s, right? You look back at the movies that you may have watched at the time. Footloose is a very good example. Karate Kid, Flashdance, you know, the Harrison Ford movies, Raiders of the Lost Ark. And you watch them now and you think, you know, technically, and certainly as an adult, it doesn't really cut the mustard, right? But in terms of nostalgia and in terms of what it may make you feel, as in the case of this Bonnie Tyler song, that's a whole different ball game.
Excuse me. Let's take a listen then to from the movie Footloose, Holding Out for a Hero, and it'll conjure up for you images of Kevin Bacon looking excellent in blue jeans and a white t-shirt. Here we go. I need a hero, Bonnie, Tyler, and Randall. I've just been looking at some of the reviews at the time, which confirm what you were saying. One of the reviewers talks about it as typically overblown and fabulous, as you were suggesting that, you know, do this thing, do it with all your might, and you'll come out with a classic. I mean, where does Bonnie Tyler echo in current music now? I mean, is there a line from Bonnie Tyler to Adele, or is that stretching it?
No, I think that would be stretching it,
Okay.
John. I think the interesting thing is how songs stay alive, you know,
Yes.
what kind of new media keeps them alive. And a song like this, you can imagine it made its way into video games, right? It's perfect for a video game, right? Because video games are crazy and overblown and, you know, they're very
Yes.
different universes. And then it would make its way again into sport, because I mean, again, you can imagine that as a song before a basketball game or a
Yes,
baseball
yes.
game or a soccer game, it's going to work, because ultimately that's what you're going to do. And again, you know, short snippets of the song are going to absolutely work on TikTok, and that for me is always like really, really interesting, because obviously, you know, 100 years ago, 80 years ago, you know, music didn't have those sorts of media in order to flow through.
Right.
You know, you had formats. So you had the big shellac singles, and you had the 45, then you had the LP. But the kind of digital media that you have now that keeps these songs alive wasn't around. So it's going to be very interesting to me to imagine what's going to happen with 80 songs in the next 10 to 20 years.
Thank you very much. Well, hopefully over the next 10 to 20 years we can chat about it, because I always do enjoy Randall's One Song, and we'll do it at the same time next Friday. It's 5 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Police make a breakthrough in the murder of activist Thato Molosangwe and controversial arrest warrant of Dumisani Khumalo currently under review. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Police have made a breakthrough in the murder investigation of crime activist Thato Molosangwe, with 2 people being arrested. Molosangwe was murdered at his Mahikeng home in the northwest 2 months ago. Police say the 2 suspects were part of a larger group that allegedly carried out the hit. Law enforcement officials are now on the search for additional suspects, with efforts also underway to recover the murder weapon. The arrest warrants issued by IDAC for SAPS Crime Intelligence Head Dumisani Khumalo and Major General Nosipho Madondo have been put on hold. This has been confirmed by National Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Andy Mutibi. Mutibi addressed the matter of the failed arrests today during the launch of the IDAC Ombuds Office in Pretoria. IDAC initially said the warrants were not effected as the pair formed part of the team responsible for ensuring security arrangements for nationwide protests that took place on June 30th. Dimakatso Lushoro has more.
Speaking with journalists along with Justice Minister Mamuluko Kubai, NPA Director of Public Prosecutions Andy Mutibi says while the arrest warrants are on ice, they remain valid. He says they can only be cancelled by the magistrate who issued them, adding they are being reviewed by a team of prosecutors independent of IDAC to determine if they are warranted. This follows representations by Khumalo's legal team and the public outcry, Mutibi says.
Once the review is done, a decision will be made. Until the review is completed, the warrants will remain on hold.
IDAC attempted to arrest Khumalo and Madondo prior to the 30th of June demonstrations, but stopped, citing the two's involvement in the arrangements. Mutibi says once the process is complete, a decision will be taken on whether the warrants should be executed. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
At the same time, the Madlanga Commission has heard that there is an ongoing interference probe into head of the investigating directorate, Andrea Johnson. The Commission has spent the day hearing evidence from 4 witnesses about how Johnson allegedly interfered in a criminal complaint laid against Crime Intelligence top cop Feroz Khan. Khan was accused of assault and intimidation by a fellow intelligence officer, Leonora Petle. Khomotso Modise reports.
The allegation before the Madlanga Commission is that Advocate Andrea Johnson had shared with General Feroz Khan the details of the docket that Brigadier Leonora Petle had filed against him in a bid to favour Khan and help him with his case. The Commission has also heard that when Hawks head Godfrey Libea tried to get former NPA head Shamila Batohi to appoint a senior prosecutor to investigate Johnson's alleged interference, Batohi shared the docket with Johnson instead. Hawks officer Mark McLean, who was the investigator, said he'd had to wait for Batohi to retire in order to approach the NPA again for a prosecutor.
Because of what happened to us in 2022 when Colonel Rulofse approached General Labia to approach Advocate Batohi, and subsequent to that, Colonel or Advocate Johnson then spoke to our witnesses.
The Commission has also heard testimony from 2 other witnesses this afternoon. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News.
The owners of the now-closed Enyobeni Tavern could face criminal prosecution over the deaths of 21 teenagers in June of 2022. The East London Regional Court sitting in Mdantsane has ruled there is prima facie evidence for criminal charges. The ruling comes 4 years after the tragedy, which took place during the June Pensdown celebrations at that establishment, Zulfa Khan reports.
The court found former tavern owners Siya Kangela and Vuyokazi Ndevu liable in connection with the deaths and ruled that their failure to comply with liquor regulations contributed to the tragedy. A tavern employee, an Eastern Cape Liquor Board official and an Eastern Cape Police sergeant were also found to have acted negligently. Eastern Cape Police spokesperson Ubuntu Katana says they are reviewing the judgment.
The SAPS remains committed to the rule of law and to transparency. We will issue a comprehensive response as soon as we have concluded our legal review and internal consultations.
The matter now rests with the Eastern Cape Director of Public Prosecutions, who will decide whether to institute criminal charges. Zulfa Khan, Eyewitness News.
And 11 people have been killed and 19 others are still missing after a wildfire tore through a Spanish village. Authorities say many of the victims may be foreign tourists that were visiting Badar, a small village in Spain. About 400 firefighters and troops battled the inferno, which witnesses say may have been started by a power line that fell and set scrubland on fire. It erupted as temperatures across heat-battered Spain and France were predicted to hit 40 degrees Celsius today, with forest fires blazing in both countries. Gold is trading at $4,103.11 an ounce. The rand is at 16.32 to the dollar, 21.90 to the pound, 18.65 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $76.17 a barrel.
Leaving the Pretoria CBD, expect about a 20-minute delay in Hermanstad on Eskiam Pahlele between Van der Hof and the R80 Sunninghill roadwork, still causing heavy delays approaching the intersection of Rivonia Road and Witkoppen, and in Sharon Lee expect some delays Malibongo Drive between the N1 and Witkoppen.
In your sport, Romelu Lukaku emerging as Belgium's secret weapon off the bench at the FIFA World Cup. Yannick Sinner stands between Novak Djokovic and a shot at history. And Scotland look ahead to the biggest challenge in world rugby against the Springboks.
A fine Saturday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg drops to overnight lows of 4 degrees, peaking at 18. Pretoria 5 and 20 and Vereeniging 3 and 19 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Police have made a breakthrough in the murder investigation of crime activist Tato Molosankwe, with 2 people being arrested.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
On Sunday, 26 July, 7:02 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk unites us all in the iconic Joburg CBD. 7:02 Walk the Talk. Abize bonke. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive, it's 8 minutes past 5. Great to have you with us on this Friday. It's been a very mild winter so far, hasn't it? Nice day today. I don't know what's lined up for the weekend weather-wise. I haven't bothered to check, but the weather notwithstanding, hope you've got a good weekend in prospect. Hopefully we've got some good stuff for you in the next hour to launch you into that weekend. We're going to be talking to the National Consumer Commission shortly. This after there's been another recall of vehicles. 11,000 BMWs, starter engine issues, fire and other risks. It's worrying stuff. And it brings, by the way, to this year alone, a total of 20,000 vehicles recalled across a range of vehicle marks. It really is a problem that is a continuation of what was going on last year, where we had a lot of recalls as well. The National Consumer Commission now says they're going to be conducting an investigation into the industry, because they're also, I think, now responding to the fact that this is repeating itself quite a number of times and in worrying ways. We'll talk to the NCC's Head of Complaints and Investigations, Prudence Muilwa. That's coming up in just a moment. We'll bring you the latest business news. We'll update you on the traffic, which is getting busier. And then in the last part of the show, we'll be doing what we do every Friday. We call it a song, a book, and a dish. I'm really looking forward to talking to an interesting, very interesting young entrepreneur, Tsepo Mohlala, who is the founder of Tsepo Jeans. He'll be joining us at about 20 to 6. He's picked a song. It's a piece of music I have never heard before, so I'm looking forward to that. A very, very interesting book. And his food choice is not just about the dish, but about the sharing of the dish and the memories that stirs up. Exactly what we hope to achieve with the dish part of a song, a book, and a dish. 10 minutes past 5. Some of you have podcast suggestions. Some of you are responding to Randall's one song. Let's listen to your thoughts.
7:02. WhatsApp John
on 072
7:02
1702.
Hi, John. I may be showing my age here, but my sister and I are in the car listening to the song, and we didn't actually know it was a Bonnie Tyler song. We actually heard the song in Shrek 2 many moons ago when we were primary and high school age. So we actually looked at each other and we realized that we know the song, but we didn't know who originally sang it. So it goes to show you that even years later, movies can introduce you to different types of music that you never thought you might have known. This is Kay from Joburg.
Good afternoon, John. All my favorite podcasts are by South African podcasters. The first one that I listen to every day is Mighty Jamie TV. It's political commentary and analysis, very current, funny. It's lovely. At number 2, it's Mindset Profits. It's about personal development. Number 3 is Cheers to Failure. It is also personal development / life challenges and how to deal with. It's lovely. A very solved and sophisticated host. And then the last one that I like listening to is SMWX by Dr. Sizwe Mpofu Welsh.
Yeah, thanks for those podcast suggestions. Let me add one more from Chantel, who says, you need to listen to No Such Thing as a Fish. It's from the creators of QI, that TV series with Stephen Fry in the chair. That's just me in brackets there. And Chantel concludes, they share and discuss 4 random facts. It is extremely funny. Yes, indeed, that Bonnie Tyler song was in Shrek 2, which answers a question sent to us by Fatima. It was the Fairy Godmother song. No, not because I know that, but because Google is a marvelous thing. It's 12 minutes past 5.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. And you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Karabo Chali is your man. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, John. In Pretoria, leaving the CBD, you can still expect about a 20-minute delay in Hermanstad. This is on Eskiam Pahlele between Van der Hof and the R80. Joburg, Sunning Hill roadworks also causing heavy delays. This is approaching the intersection of Rivonia Road and Witkoppen. Bryanston, traffic remains sluggish. N1 southbound from Rivonia Road to Witkoppen. Also expect some delays in the Sharon Lee area on Malibongo Drive between the N1 and Witkoppen Road. Pumville, Soweto, there's still slow-moving traffic on Chris Honey Road or between Bara Hospital and Klipspruit Valley Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
With the price of everything going up, a drop in your car insurance premium is just what you need to have extra money in your pocket. Switch to Outsurance and you could save big, like 54-year-old Yaku, who saves an amazing 282 Rand a month on his 2025 Suzuki Swift. Don't pay more than you need to. Get an Outsurance quote to switch and save today. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP, TCs and information online.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Right, let's focus our attention now on these vehicle recalls. The most recent of these, 11,000 BMWs. They've been recalled because of concerns around starter motors, the solenoid switch, and there are potential issues with overheating and possibly even fire. This relates to the BMW 3 Series, 4 Series, 5, 7 Series, as well as the X3 and the X4. It's a substantial number of recalls in this year alone, according to Kabelo Kumalo, who's done the number crunching on for Business Day on the Business Live site. More than 22,000 vehicles this year. It really is a substantial issue. The other recalls, just to mention a couple of these, Jaguar Land Rover recalling 2020 to 2027 model year Defender Discovery and Range Rover vehicles. That's just one of the others, and there have been others besides Toyota, Ford, and Mercedes-Benz. So, What do we make of all of this? Well, the National Consumer Commission has decided that they perhaps need to do more to get to the bottom of this, and they've started an investigation. So what is the investigation going to look at? What is the scope? Let's welcome to the show Prudence Mwilwa, who is the NCC's Head of Complaints and Investigations. Ms. Mwilwa, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time today on 702 Drive. How are you going to go about this investigation? Will you be doing it yourselves as the NCC? Will you be bringing in investigators? Give us a sense of your method and what you're looking to find. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John. Good afternoon to your listeners. Actually, what is actually happening at the National Consumer Commission is that it's what we call an assessment. So what we've done is we have tried to assess the recalls over the past 5 years.
Okay.
Just to be able to look at, the recalls that we deem to be successful on the basis that the majority of the vehicles have been fixed. We also are assessing what we call the lag time when it comes to the notifications that come to the National Consumer Commission. So what we're really doing is to make sure that we do not drive suppliers away, because as you know, product recall notifications are done in terms of Section 60 of the Consumer Protection Act. And what we're also trying to appreciate is that being told about the recall is not meant to get companies into trouble, but just to see whether they are emphasizing, prioritizing consumer safety, not only in their production, but also in them communicating recalls to the National Consumer Commission. So what the Commission has done is we've started engaging with companies that have taken longer to inform us of their recalls. But broadly, we've started engaging with NAMSA. As you know, it is an organization of OEMs in the country, wherein we want to work with them in order to make sure that we get to the bottom of the safety concerns that are being raised in the vehicles, number one, but also to see if we can really have the successful recalls in the future. So to strike a balance between ensuring consumer safety during production, as well as making sure at the end that if they do pick up that there are problems, they would be able to inform the Commission timelessly so that we can communicate effectively with consumers. And also what we're trying to do is to find if there are other mechanisms that can assist the Commission and the OEMs in order to make sure that we have responsive consumers in the market. So we really, so we don't want to really raise alarm when it comes to recalls, because we don't want to drive them away from communicating with the Commission. We want them to be law-abiding OEMs, wherein we work together towards ensuring the safety of consumers during production, but also during product recalls.
So, and by the way, let me just throw this out to listeners. I mean, if you have a vehicle that's been involved in a product recall, you may want to call in or drop us a note on 072 702 1702 and just let us know how that went. Do you feel that you were properly served and that you were dealt with in a prompt and effective way? But back to you, Ms. Mwilwa. I mean, I don't know if this is just my perception, but it seems to me there have been many more recalls. Just as a journalist, I don't recall covering vehicle recalls on the scale that I feel we've done over the last 18 months or so. And I'm wondering, even if it's not going to be an NCC investigation, because I think you are looking very much at the recall process and the efficacy and integrity of that. But shouldn't somebody be looking at whether we have a problem in our vehicle manufacturing and assembly sector? Because unless I'm misunderstanding the scale of this, it appears to me that it's going up, which would suggest we may have problems on the factory floor.
That is what we want to get to the bottom of. With our engagements with the OEMs, that's precisely where we want to perhaps test this theory of whether, the vehicles of low quality are being produced, or it might just be that there is improved communication from our side, but also from the OEMs as well. As you know, product recall is a known phenomenon throughout the world. There's recalls every day in the EU, maybe not every day, but there's recalls all over the world. All our regulators have to contend with dealing with products that are imperfect or unsafe being returned to suppliers, mainly because we want to ensure consumer safety. So we do not want for there not to be recalls like in the past where we used to have to contend with silent recalls, where only manufacturers would know and they would quietly fix the vehicles during the services. I think South Africans need to be alive to the fact that it's a known phenomenon. It is legal to recall products, and the more recalls that are being done can be viewed as, yes, less quality or even safety, but also it can be looked at as suppliers being responsible to make sure that the drivers of their vehicles or the consumers of their products are kept safe. So if we look at it that way, I think we wouldn't want for there never to be recalls in South Africa and everything is silent.
Well, I think you don't want there to be no recalls because if, as the evidence clearly suggests, there are problems, then no recalls suggests that in addition to an equipment failure from the OEMs you've been referring to, and I assume that means original equipment manufacturer, in other words, the brands that we're familiar with. But on the other hand, if there were to be some kind of survey or investigation into the quality of the manufacturing process, I would assume the NCC, and no disrespect, is not technically equipped to do that. But is there the possibility of, for example, with an umbrella body like NAMSA, that there is, even on a sampling basis, some kind of interrogation as to why we're having more recalls than we had before, assuming that I'm not wrong in saying that is the case?
Yeah, that's why the engagements are ongoing. We've recently started engaging with them. We've shown them what we see as the National Consumer Commission in terms of the recalls in the past 5 years. And the engagements are meant to do exactly what you're saying, to really take an honest look at the recalls, to say, is there really an issue, and maybe do a comparative study with the EU and other countries to also check if maybe we're worried about something that everyone else in the world has been contending with. So those engagements have started. And indeed, as you correctly indicate, we do recognize as the NCC that because this is not about individual dealerships. This is about brands, OEMs. It would be nice to also have that checked out to see whether or not, there is maybe a checking and balances lapse if you have it for what happens during the quality assurance of vehicles during production. So that is what we want to come back to say to South Africans, to say, indeed, this is where we are after discussing this with NAMSA as well as the OEMs individually. So to move from not being informed to being informed, but to also making sure that we are not just tracking the numbers and the repairs, but to also look at what could be the cause of this and if we should be worried.
Yeah, well, I've just been Googling total vehicle recalls global, and I'm just looking at statistics, and I must say we are a relatively small part of it, because in 2025, Ford had almost 13 million cars recalled. Toyota had 3.2 million, Stellantis 2.7, Honda 1.5, Hyundai million, all the way down to number 10 BMW 508,000. Of course, we would have to then factor those numbers as a percentage of how many vehicles they manufacture. So I guess there's a lot going in. Have you set, Ms. Mwiwa, a timeline on this? And is there any role, for example, of public participation in this? Our listeners, I've just asked them for their feedback, but is there going to be a kind of a public surveying component where people can, give you some sense of whether when there was a recall, they got what they were hoping to get from that inconvenience?
I'm sure that's something that we can look into.
Yes.
But obviously consumers are always welcome to contact the National Consumer Commission with any type of questions around recalls. But also you must understand we are doing this on behalf of consumers. The National Consumer Commission is a consumer champion. We do this to safeguard South African consumers. So when we address issues in the manner that we do, we actually are doing it to make sure that consumers in South Africa are protected. And I think that your statistics also do indicate that, because some of the recalls in South Africa started overseas and they concern vehicles sold all over the world. So we are only looking out for South Africa, and also sometimes, the sales that have happened in the region, so long as they are sold in South Africa, to make sure that we are able to secure South Africans and make sure that they are kept safe on the road.
Thank you so much, Prudence Mwilwa, the National Consumer Commission's Head of Complaints and Investigations. Just curious, out of curiosity, I mean, if you are in the motor trade in some way, perhaps you run a dealership, own a dealership, or you might be involved with one of the well-known brands in South Africa. What's your take on this? I mean, my perception is there are more recalls, but maybe that's a perception and not a number. But your thoughts from ground level and crucially from your place in an ecosystem that I'm a complete outsider to would be valuable. I'd like to understand this better if possible. 26 minutes past 5.
EWN Business.
Ray White, a very good afternoon to you. End of the week's trade here. Of course, it's going on in other parts of the world like the United States, and we've still got one more money show this week. So over to you. What have you got for us?
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Well, you're right. It's been a volatile week, but the past 2 days have seen things settle somewhat. The oil share finished the week up 0.69% at the close, 110,247 points. So it shows that things have really settled down. Some of these stocks that came under pressure this week have regained some ground. I'm looking at South 32, up 4.29%. So that's one. Kumba Iron Ore finishing up 5.7%. And then We Buy Cars had been taking quite a bit of water on this week, up at 3.8%. So all regaining some lost territory. Losses, though, today for Canal Plus, losing about 3%, and then Karoo down about 1.5%. Many emerging market stocks, John, and currencies have gained today. Although the FTSE and CAC and DAX have been relatively flat, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 0.15% a short while ago. However, developments in the Middle East have put some stocks on track for weekly declines anyway. But AI stocks have also risen, but South Korean chipmaker SK Hynix is the big attraction today with its US market debut. The stock has lost traction over the past 2 weeks, though, but is up, get this, 650% compared to last year. So big sort of attention on SK Hynix today and what's going to happen. Well, South Korea's benchmark Kospi advanced 2.5%, while Hong Kong's benchmark Hang Seng rose about 0.6% this morning, registering their sharpest weekly gains in 9 months. So all in all, the markets are back on track. After what happened in the Middle East, there was that spike that was Wednesday, but things have calmed down quite a bit. The rand as well has also been quite resilient, John. 16.29, that's the dollar at the moment. The pound 21.86, the euro 18.60, and then platinum, the metals as well, strengthened earlier on this week. They dipped quite a bit, but strengthening once again. Platinum now $1,626.20. Gold $4,104.36. And you can see some of those miners also coming up over the past 2 days, which shows what's happened after Wednesday when things went a little bit wrong. And then the oil price continuing standing its ground after rising dramatically earlier this week. It was $73. That was Monday. $78. That was Wednesday. Now Brent crude is $76.10. That's a barrel. So many economists sort of saying if it can just stay like that, we can maybe get ourselves out of these inflationary worries, at least for now. Coming up on your money show tonight, government proposes the strategic stockpiling, John, of fuel. They're arguing that in case we have another fuel crisis, at least wholesalers can have this backup. So I'll be looking into that one. Then young people are battling to buy their first houses, and it's a major problem. Asking what can be done to get around this. They simply do not qualify. Major problem. And then South Africans are eating less chocolate. Who knew? What could be the reason for that, John? Yeah, okay, we'll find out too. And then we have the Biz Blitz tonight. And will you be the last person standing? Of course, nothing up for grabs. We're just having a lot of fun. And you can phone Stephen on Monday and say that you're the champion. So that's the Money Show. All coming up in exactly half an hour.
Thanks, Ray. That dip in chocolate eating is a matter of real concern, and I hereby commit to helping to turn that round over the next couple of days. It's 5:30. Let's get the latest news with Mpali Dlamini. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Justice Minister Mameloko Kubai has assured South Africans of government's commitment to tackling corruption within the justice system. She was speaking at the launch of the IDAC Ombud Oversight Offices in Pretoria. The Ombuds Office will be investigating complaints of abuse of power, maladministration and improper conduct. The launch comes as the Madlanga Commission shifted its focus to the IDAC leadership and its investigations today. Kubai says retired Judge Dakalani Raulinga will be the head of the new office.
Similarly, as we proceeded, we had to now establish the office. This is going to be a permanent office. So it's not an ad hoc office, it's a permanent office. In terms of the law, the judge is appointed for a non-renewable term of 7 years. And then after that, there is 5 years.
The ANC has now approached the Western Cape Premier to determine whether Tony Leon's Resolve Communications has been awarded any provincial government contracts. Former DA leader John Steenhuisen had drawn the party's founding leader into claims of impropriety, accusing him of lobbying DA members for preferential treatment for his public relations company. Camry Clark reports.
The ANC's Western Cape leadership claims Resolve Communications has been influencing political discourse through Bell Pottinger-style PR tactics. That British firm was implicated in the state capture project, and the UK's Public Relations and Communications Association ultimately expelled it following a complaint by the DA. Now the ANC claims Tony Leon's PR company has been trying to highlight clean and good governance in the province, while a constitutional court judgment and a public protector's report have found otherwise. Leader of the opposition in the Western Cape legislature, Khalid Sayed, says Premier Alan Winde and former local government MEC Anton Bredell must respond.
We've asked for a list of all municipalities in the Western Cape that have done work with Resolve Communications, right, from 2009 when the DA took over in the province to date.
He says they are investigating whether this points to broader corruption and state capture, adding they will approach parliamentary committees if wrongdoing is uncovered. Camry Clark, Eyewitness News.
And German carmaker VW says it has no choice but to consider cutting up to 100,000 jobs worldwide over dwindling sales. Overall vehicle deliveries fell almost 9% in the April-June period from a year earlier, thanks to plunging demand in China. Sales had fallen just 4% in the first quarter. Europe's largest carmaker has come under intense pressure from US tariffs, slimmer profit margins from electric cars, and above all, intense competition in China, the world's largest auto market. A fine Saturday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, lows of between 3 and 5 degrees and highs of between 18 and 20.
Pimville driving into Soweto, slow-moving traffic on Chris Hani Road between Bara Hospital and Klipspruit Valley Road in Protea Glen. Also bumper-to-bumper traffic N12 westbound approaching the R558.
The top story in EWN, Justice Minister Mameloko Kubai has assured South Africans of government's commitment to tackling corruption in the justice system.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
I'm sure you were looking at your birth certificate saying, I cannot wait, Ibe ID. Give 18.
Yeah.
So now, when all of that happened, did you continue playing or did you just completely stop? When Mama said it's not happening, you're not going anywhere, how did you keep the dream alive within you?
I left home. She made me to stop when I was in high school. So I stopped completely. I was not playing in high school.
Oh.
So when I went to college, I was not staying with my mom. So I then went back to football. And when I got selected for the province, she was shocked.
Because she didn't know you were busy playing behind her back.
Yes.
Ms. She-Ref, Akona Makalima.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
It's that time of the year. Sore throats, congestion, wet and dry coughs. pain and fever. For trusted relief for you and your family, ask your pharmacist to recommend a winter survival pack from the Adcock Ingram OTC range. With products like Medikil A, Expigen, Corenza Parac, Adconapamol, Dilinct Junior and more, we have you covered this winter. Remember, Adcock Ingram OTC, sponsors of Brave.
Saddle up! Hollywood Bets invites you to join the race day festivities this champion season. The 2026 Grade 1 Hollywood Bets Gold Challenge kickstarts the action. Gallop towards your chance to win a share of 2.5 million rand in cash and prizes with the thrilling Season of Champions competition. Bet 50 rand or more on horse racing online or at your nearest branch and put yourself in the running for gold. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Do you ever call you like to sell? But don't trust your uncle or your pal. Then we buy cars is just for you. Buying cars is what we do. We offer service with a smile. We always go the extra mile. Use a place that you trust and sell your car to us.
We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy, a pulse, and a feeling connecting everybody. The heart of Mzansi.
It's Joburg, you know?
In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi My Jozi, and we're calling on you to walk through the city center with us.
Walk the talk.
In the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. On Sunday, 26 July, we're going to the iconic Joburg CBD, the home of dream creators and operators, where we dominate and history make. So join us and be a part of something special.
I'm ready to rock this book.
Because when Joburg walks together, extraordinary things happen. Enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk this July, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for the people, for our Jozi. Bamise bonke. Enter Walk the Talk now on primemediaplus.com.
EWN Sport.
Yeah, Belgium, Spain, Sinner, Djokovic, South Africa, Scotland. What a weekend of sport, Tola Kelly. Where are you going to start?
Well, John, we start at the World Cup where Thibaut Courtois is relishing the underdogs tag as Belgium face off with Spain in the quarterfinals tonight. La Roya unbeaten in regular time in their last 35 fixtures while they've yet to concede after 5 games at the tournament. It's been a much more challenging campaign for the Red Devils, who are on the verge of a group stage elimination before winning their last pool game.
It's a bit similar to what happened in 2018, I would say, with the quarterfinal against Brazil also, where they were more favorite than us, although maybe at time I think maybe individually we had maybe more quality in the team. But I feel we are a great team altogether now, and Spain is a great, I think they are one of the favorites to win it, so obviously we start as an underdog against them, but I say football, everything is possible.
Romelu Lukaku has shone for Belgium despite being utilised mainly as a substitute. He's now the second Belgian player to find the net in 3 successive World Cups, matching the feat achieved by Mark Wilmots in 2002.
This year has been a tough year for me, and the coach came to visit me, and obviously we had a long 2-hour conversation about what he expected from me for this tournament. Obviously I want to be here as long as possible with the national team, but I know my role for this tournament, and I try to help the team off the pitch, on the pitch as much as I can, because obviously it would be crazy after only playing 62 minutes to start. Every game is like, self-destructive.
Alexander Zverev is through to Sunday's men's final at Wimbledon following a 7-6, 6-2 and 6-4 victory over Arthur Ferry. He'll face either Jannik Sinner or Novak Djokovic in that championship match, as those two are currently facing off on centre court. An update from the first set sees it even at 2-2. And the Nations Championship continues, and selected games will see New Zealand up against Italy, Australia clash with France, while South Africa up against Scotland. Their captain Sione Tupelohu has discussed their quest to become the first Scottish team to win on South African soil.
I think playing them away is a little bit of a different beast. I know that from travelling on and playing the URC teams away from home. They're a different beast when they're in their own backyard and they get to wake up in their own beds and things like that with play in front of their family. So I'm experienced enough to know that there'll be a different beast in front of their own crowd. But of course, there's the familiarity of playing this team. You get experience of, the more times that you play them, there's definitely not any comfortability in playing them because they're just not a comfortable top team to play.
Tholakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
At 20 to 6, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. And you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Out in Hermanstad, going is a little bit slow, Karabo.
Yeah, it is a bit sluggish leaving the Pretoria CBD. You can expect about a 20-minute delay on Eskiam Pahlele. That's between Van der Hof and the R80 Irene. There's also slow-moving traffic on Nalmepius Drive approaching Main Road. Four ways, traffic heavily backed up on Winnie Mandela Drive between the N1 and Uranium. And in Sharon Lee, traffic remains sluggish. This is on Malibongwe Drive between the N1 and Witkoppen. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
From fuel prices to groceries and electricity, in an economy where the price of everything is going up, it's comforting to know that when you switch to Outsurance, you could actually save money on your car insurance premium. You could save big, like 50-year-old Lawrence, who saves an incredible 309 Rand a month on his 2025 Volkswagen T-Cross. How much money could Outsurance save you? SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. T's and information online.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
It appears that law enforcement is starting to put pressure on government to say, hey man, we can't be marching every day. Once the people of any country begin to say, you as our government have been missing in action in a particular job that you should be doing, and we are going to do it ourselves. That for me is a sign that government has lost control of that space. I'm hoping that all of these efforts are going to make sure that government begins to accelerate some of the issues that are being called for.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
The 139 million Rand Powerball Extra cascading jackpot has been won. 3 people walked away with over 45.7 million Rand each. The tickets were bought on the Standard Bank and FNB apps and one in-store Checkers Hyper in Alberton. Don't forget to play the Powerball this Friday. The total estimated Powerball jackpot is 24 million Rand. The next winner could be you. The National Lottery. More plays, more chances, more millions. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The National Lottery is officially operated by Sizek Kaya.
Oh, Shane, do you have a sore throat? The Andalex range of lozenges offers 2 options. At the first signs of an irritated, scratchy throat, use Andalex lozenges for dual-action, soothing relief. But for a painful, inflamed throat, use Andalex C lozenges for triple-action, pain relief. Andalex, SA's #1 choice for a sore mouth and throat. Andalex lozenges are available at all leading pharmacies and supermarkets.
Just Andalex it.
Andalex, a proud sponsor of The Masked Singer Season 3.
Sure, they aced it. The Championships Wimbledon experience with the Mzansi Advantage is back at Amex Tennis Town Monte Casino between 11 and 12 July 2026. Enjoy VIP hospitality, the ultimate big screen experience, a kids fun zone, and so much more. Buy your tickets now on Howler and get 50% off on limited tickets when you use your Amex card. Tennis is better with Amex. American Express Cards is operated under license in South Africa by Nedbank, a licensed financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
A song, a book, and a dish.
On 702.
16 minutes to 6. Well, out in the world that we inhabit, there are all sorts of goods and things that we look at and buy and enjoy and treasure, and they're things that we know about and think of buying. But behind all of these products, there's always somebody who had a dream, a vision, was willing to march and walk and at times crawl over the very, very difficult ground that is invariably involved before a brand becomes a success. Tsepo Jeans is a product that many of you have heard about, but not many of you, I think, know all that much about the person who created Tsepo Jeans. I certainly am looking forward to this conversation with Tsepo Mohlala, the man who created this South African brand. Tsepo, welcome. It's great to have you with us right here on 702 Drive. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. You said my surname so well, eh?
Oh, good. Well, it's your name. I must get it right. But Tsepo, it's great to have you with us. Now, I've got something in front of me that talks about the significance of your logo. It's a three-pronged crown, and each of them reflects a woman in your life and their significance. Introduce them to us just to get us started.
Oh, man, my mom, my aunt, and my grandmother. My grandmother is a storyteller. She was a pastor for a very long time in our church. I grew up in a church environment, and I remember growing up. My grandmother's home, my grandmother and my granddad's home was a place where the gates were always open.
Yes.
You know, at 2 a.m. in the morning, people would walk in and ask for prayers, or ask for a message, or ask for coaching, and my grandmother was one person who used storytelling to spread a message of hope, and I've always wanted to be a storyteller just like her. And so part of my brand is storytelling, which was inspired by her. My mom was was one of the people that I saw hustle. You know, she was a domestic worker, leaving the house at 3 a.m. in the morning, coming back home at 10 p.m. at night. And what I saw from her was a spirit of hustling and like making sure. She took me to a private institution, and with the money as a domestic worker. And the one day I asked her, I was like, dude, how did you do it? She's like, I was saving up. And she taught me the resilience, the spirit of resilience. And my aunt was one of the first few people in our neighborhood to actually go to university. And back in the early 2000s, denim on denim was a thing. R&B was a thing. Hip hop was a thing, and jeans were a thing, and I saw them on Channel O. And this one day she comes wearing Spice Girl boots, those flared jeans, white T-shirt with a cropped denim jacket, and I was like, oh my God, this is the person that I want to be. And so she inspired my love. She ignited my love for jeans, and so this is an ode to the three women in my life.
And this is trendy on Takalani. Did she get a chance to wear Tsepo jeans? I don't know if she's still with us.
She's still with us. They're all with us.
Yes.
All of them are still with us. My grandmother's 85 years old, and she's amazing.
So tell me, your desire to be creative and the phrase you use, tell stories, originally manifest in, and we'll go back to primary school a little bit later, but let's just stay with the adults and young adults. Tsepo, you went to AFTA, the film school. How did that shift into, you know what, actually, I want to make clothing?
So what happened was when I got to school, and when everybody, I think it was 2010 when I got into AFTA, and everybody's researching what's happening in CGI. So CGI is like before AI came in,
right?
And visual effects, and like Avatar was one of the biggest movies that came out that used a lot of CGI. Avatar was one of the and 300 was one of the biggest movies that came out. So we had to like do a bit of research on that and how they've done everything in the background. And whilst everybody was spending time doing all that research, I was like Googling what's happening in Milan Fashion Week, New York Fashion Week, Joburg Fashion Week. And I realized at that moment that my love was in fashion. I got an opportunity actually when Africa Fashion International hosted a fashion show, and David Tlale was showcasing at midnight in Sandton Convention Center. I was there, and I think that ignited my love for fashion again.
So that took you in that direction. I want to go back to your grandparents because you gave us a brief but very vivid description of a door always open, people coming in day and night. And your dish choice is very much framed in that context. Your grandfather comes into the conversation, pup and cow head. And you talk about it not just in terms of a dish that you love, but an environment that clearly fostered important things in you. And you say that, he would invite everybody to come and eat with him. Tell us a little bit more about the dish, but more crucially, the sharing of that dish.
So, one thing that I've learned about my family or my parents or my grandparents were very communal. My grandfather was a construction worker. I saw him building a house with his bare hands and using his remnants from the house that he built and leftover bricks, leftover cement, and he built a 5-bedroom house using that. And one of the things that when he's done a successful job, he'll buy cow head, pap, and sometimes make umkombo tea, and invite the guys, the men in the community, the men in our streets, and they would come and they would gather. And I think for me that sparked the power of community,
Yes.
Every time when something special happens, he would invite people in our community. So I was raised in a very, very communal space. At some point, the craziest thing I remember, I was telling one of my friends, I was like, one of the days my grandmother sent me to ask for maize meal because we never had any. And I went next door to ask for maize meal. They put it in a bowl, and then I was walking back home. I fell and I tripped in a hole.
Oh no!
I lost all the maize meal, so I was sitting outside for an hour, not knowing where to go. And then my friend it was yo, dude, what's going on? I was like, hey, this what happened. And I think part of it, the communal part of it, of my life was that the community played a role. We were never meant to feel like we're lacking. So everything was shared. Everything was amongst us. And we were meant to feel like we're building together, not just as individuals. And that's part of what the Temple brand is all about, is building as a community. Our biggest campaign is We the People, which highlights us as people, not just as individuals.
I want to ask you about school life because I'm just looking at the list of schools. And in primary school, moved around quite a lot. You were in Wattville, you were in Tsakane, then you were in Actonville, close to Tsakane, although crossing, certainly historical divides there. And then secondary school in Actonville, and then in school in Brakpan at the high school. What were you like as a school kid? I mean, were you stylishly dressed? Very shy?
Very shy kid. Moved around a lot because of my mom's work.
Okay.
And my mom, there was two of us, my sister and I. My sister was a bit older than me, so they needed a bit more stability for my sister. So she had to stay at my grandmother's house after my mom and my dad had separated. So moved from Takane, went to Wattville, and just to make it easier for my mom to get closer to work. And then I moved, I think in total I changed schools about 7 times. And what was I like as a kid? I mean, it's a bit of an instability, when you look at it, changing schools a lot of times. It makes you feel very shy, makes you feel very anxious. And I think not a lot of people understood back then, or maybe in my environment, what depression and anxiety was.
Right.
But I'm a very anxious kid. And luckily, when we moved back to Tsakane, when I went to Brakpan High, I was very involved in the community church which my grandmother led. I was part of the choir. I was part of the community of the youth service activities. I was very, very active in the church, which became a place where I actually found myself. I found my voice, and that's when I realized actually fashion is how I'm going to express myself. That's how I'm going to,
It's interesting because you seem to be saying that once you find an anchor, then you can start doing and creating the things that actually are your deep passions. but without that stability, that becomes quite difficult to do. Which brings me a little bit to your book, which I haven't read and it's just come out. But you've chosen Handwritten, the founding story of Yappie Chef. It's written by Andrew Smith, the co-founder. But you indicate that you've read a lot of other people's kind of origin stories as how did they get over the line and actually get into that creative space and maximize it.
I mean, like, you know, when I was listening to Andrew and when he was speaking, when he was launching the book, I was like, he sounds like me.
Yeah.
You know, all the challenges that he's gone through, all the difficulties that they've gone through, it sounds like the stuff that I've gone through with the brand that I've built. And I think the choice of book that I'm reading, or the affinity for me to read books like that, is to remind me that, like, I'm not alone. Entrepreneurship or the business journey is sometimes they call it a lonely journey.
Yes.
And quite recently, I've just realized how lonely it is, because it's you against your thoughts. It's like playing a golf game, and there's four of you guys in the group, but all of us are like fighting the course on our own.
Yeah.
And that's how entrepreneurship feels. And the reason why I read those kind of books is just to realize that, and to learn from other people and to learn from other people's mistakes. What took somebody 40 years can take me 10 years if they can treat me the codes and the rules and what they've done better. But everyone's journey is different. You know, what takes somebody 40 years could take me 10 years. What takes me 10 years could take me 40 years. And that's why I have an affinity to biographies or entrepreneurial journeys or to business builders books.
Yeah, and Phumzile just communicates with us as we talk Tsepo and says, I love Tsepo jeans, especially the crown on them. I'm wearing one even now. Well done, Tsepo. Tsepo, we're going to play your music. I'll introduce it. It's music I don't know at all. And we're going to play it while we talk a little bit, because you say that this is music you play when you design. It's Mariam Hassan. The song is called Ana Saharawi. And this is a woman from the Western Sahara, late now. She passed away at the age of 57. But let's hear the music and then tell us, this music got under your skin about 8 years ago, you say, and it's stayed with you ever since. Tell us why.
I was in Amsterdam for the very first time, my first international trip. And I land in Netherlands, and I meet this lady. She introduces me to this guy. This guy is a Moroccan origin, and it's like, dude, let's go to a cafe. We go to a cafe, we have a conversation. He's a designer for Pepper Jeans, and he's like, listen, bro, how you sound, you remind me of home. And this is a song that reminds me of home. And since then, it's always on my playlist. When I travel, when I go on a long journey, when I design, this is a song that I just play because it's a song that reminds me of home. I don't know what the words say, but there's something about it.
And tell me, is the music playing in your workshop, in your studio, or is it sometimes just playing in your head?
It plays in my workshop, it plays in my studio, it plays in my house.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much, Tsepo Motlala, founder of Tsepo Jeans, first of all, for sharing with us your song, your book, and your dish. Thanks for introducing me to music that I don't know, and many people like Phumzile, I'm sure, will be saying thank you so much for your wonderful jeans. We really appreciate your time.
Yes, it just speak to you.
Tsepo Motlala. Let's enjoy the music he's chosen for us on a song, a book, and a dish.
شيشيبة رد الكرة شور الميدان لأول مرة شور الميدان لأول مرة أنا صحراوية
Mariam Hassan, the song Ana Saharawiya, the choice of Tsepo Muhlala, the guest today on A Song, a Book and a Dish, bringing to an end this week's editions of 702 Drive. The shows have been produced and put together by Jonathan Fairbairn and Rifue Letsua. Karabo Malapile is our unflappable technical producer. I'm John Perlman. I'm planning to have a great weekend. Hope you do the same. From all of us, goodbye.
Never go a spec.
And now, The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Krutt is brought to you by ABSA Rewards. Get double cash back when an African team scores and wins at the FIFA World Cup 2026, courtesy of Visa. T's and C's apply. Ray, in for Stephen this evening. Well, the government, they're proposing the strategic stockpiling of fuel. So finding out what that actually means and what that involves. Then young people are battling to buy their first houses, asking what can be done to get around this. It's such a major problem. Another big problem, South Africans are eating less chocolate. Why is this? Let's find out. And we have the Biz Blitz tonight. Will you be the last person standing? If you do, I'll give you bragging rights. You can phone Stephen on Monday. So all this and more coming up on your program in the next 2 hours. But first, your latest Eyewitness News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Maki Malapo. NPA Director Advocate Ndi Mutibi says he'll be engaging the acting police minister to resolve the